In control against our Tosis debate, and keep going back and forth.
That'll be easy.
Stabilized. Return of the heat. We gotta move.
All right, guys, what is up? September 27th. Jeff, you were correct. I was waiting for you guys to be quiet, but we just went live anyways. I'm not sure if they can actually hear you yet, so go ahead and just remain quiet, cast. But this is September 27th, 2011. This is State of the Game. I'm your host, JP McDaniel. And tonight on the show, we've got a fan of guinea pigs and, of course, vegetables. It's Dan Artosis Stipkowski. Dan, how's it going?
It's going well, JP. How's it going with you, my friend?
It's
He's
going
also
good.
a fan of Hung on Prime.
He is
I am,
Hung
man.
on Prime's biggest fan, that is for sure. The newest addition to the MLG Orlando Top 20, that of course is Liquid Tyler. Tyler, how's it going?
It's going great, man. I Artosis my way into another tournament.
You did indeed.
What?
Well, hold on. Tyler, how long have you been waiting to use that joke, Tyler?
Dan, what do you mean what?
That's mean. That's
One of the
actually
most,
low.
no,
That's
that is not mean at all. One of the most epic, Tyler, don't take that guff from him for 1 second.
That's
This
mean, man.
kid one time stood on the most beautiful soapbox on our media event and was like, I Artosis my way into a tournament. You're damn right I would. And I'll Artosis my way into everything in the future if I can too, man. It means I get to play more games. Like, he was so happy.
There's no shame in Artosis.
Italy, man.
Look, Italy, that was a karmic payback for the way that WCG fucked me the year before with
What do you mean
those
by
single
always,
elimination brackets that they did
by always
alphabetically
having
by
me
first
somewhere
name.
along the way? Oh!
By the way,
What?
this took us 40 seconds to get into Brood War. That was a new record.
Yeah, that was actually a new record for the show. Let's move on. Jeff, I don't know if this is going to make you upset, but I'm just going to go with it anyways.
Sure.
A Protoss player who's now up 1 best of 3 over Destiny, Jeff in Control Robinson.
Oh, jeez.
Is that a little bit of a sting?
Wait, did you say dropped one?
No, up 1, because you're 2-1 in best of 3s, right?
No, he beat me in the show match, and then he beat me in the MLG qualifier, and I just beat him in the E ESWC.
Oh, okay, so you're 1 down. You got 1 more to go. 1 more to go. Well, then I actually am an asshole for bringing that.
Come on!
Let's just all be mean to each other.
It's the reality of the situation, man. I deserved and achieved those losses and wins, so they are what they are.
Sean, I couldn't think of anything silly for you, so you're just the guy who broadcasts to you daily.
Wow, I got
That's
out
the meanest thing you've
easy.
said.
I know.
Don't worry. Okay, no, I can come up with some. The guy who scrubbed out in 5 pool, the final match, WC 2006. Yeah, that sucked.
More Brood War.
I did that.
You were brave to do that. Everyone talked shit
I
on
was-
that. I was like, you know what?
No, that was
He was
terrible.
brave.
No, you're
That was a
fucking
brave-
wrong. God damn, that is the dumbest thing I've ever said.
Everyone's angry today
That.
on the show. Of course, this guy sitting next to me is the director/creator of Star Nation. It's Justin Agnew. He's our special guest today. We'll be doing a little bit of an interview with him. Happy for him to be here.
Justin Agnew, best music to motion picture creator I've ever seen in my life.
That's true.
Thank you. Thank you very much. A
The
lot of that
stuff
has
you
to do
play
with
for music is ridiculous.
Thank you. A lot of that has to do with Mother Falcon out of Austin, Texas. Wonderful band, great group of kids.
So that's local music is what you got on.
Oh yeah, no, we're all Austin production. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll be finding more out about Star Nation. Of course, we'll be touching on patch 1.4, breaking down IEM China, and possibly for once, we might talk strategy here on State of the Game. I know I can't
Get
believe it
out here.
myself. Also, we'll be kind of revisiting or not revisiting, but talking about the OGN casting WCG, talk about the new group at MLG, and also a Korean tournament in Seoul, South Korea that doesn't allow Korean players. We'll all be mentioning that. But first, let's talk to Justin about Star Nation. Now, where did this start out, and really what really kind of made it be? Why does it exist right now?
just to be straight, like I got involved with the esports scenes and scene in StarCraft through StarCraft 2. I'm one of those people who played a lot of video games. I played Warcraft 3 for 8 years, and I never knew that there's a professional esports scene with it. Yeah.
How long have you been sober, though?
Well, since StarCraft 2 came out.
Good man.
But as soon as I found out, somebody put me on to Day 9 actually, and Husky and some of these guys who did these YouTube castings, like the play-by-play stuff, and I started watching them, and I eventually kind of graduated from being one of those people that would play like 3v3 and 4v4 random on ladder to watching these guys on YouTube, talk strategy and how people actually play the game, and I started getting into it, and finally made the dive into 1v1. And as soon as I did that, I kind of like opened up the whole world to this professional scene and all these things that I didn't see before. And I think it's a pretty similar experience with a lot of people who weren't familiar with the Brood War and the scene that was already established. And I found it to be a very strong subject matter. Like the community, all these people that are involved around this seem like such wonderful people. And I think I just wanted to come in here and kind of show the world. I at least give it like my best try, to show everybody what this is all about and how beautiful I think it is. So.
Well, feel free to jump in when you guys want. I'm just going to keep asking questions, though, so you better shut me up, Jeff, Tyler, Artosis, and Sean.
Well,
go ahead.
In that order.
Let me dive in real quick.
Be gentle, guys. This is my first live interview.
One of the interesting, I think you recently announced that you're looking to release the movie 2013, right?
Yep. Yeah, no, that's kind of like the far end of the spectrum. We want to be as fair as possible. I'd hate to say, when I first started my Kickstarter campaign, I was early 2012, and that's just not possible right now. We really feel like we need to give this as much time to be able to flesh out the stories as much as possible, and really give this subject matter the time and our dedication that this really deserves. It's 2013 would be like the latest that we'd want it to come out, but we're really going to try and push for a 2012 release.
One of the obstacles that I think has been brought up numerous times, I'm interested to hear your perspective on, is that's a long span of time you're going to be filming for, I'm sure, the rest of this year and probably some of 2012. This game and the community, it all changes very much. It's pretty rapid moving. Not just the game itself, but also the complexion of it. A star now could be a scrub later, or vice versa. So what's the take on the movie and you as the director on what kind of perspective are you trying to capture? Because I don't know that it's possible to capture the relevancy of it as it is, but more, I guess, like a far and away scope picture of it. So I'm just kind of wondering what you're going for.
Well, I feel like, with anything that you're documenting, you only spend like a certain amount of time with the subject matter. So I feel like what's important for the scope of time will be involved filming, and we'll be doing this through, I think, well into 2012, is following the scenes, some of these characters, and getting to know you guys and kind of develop our stories as best as we can. With any documentary, you only have a limited time with your subject matter, and I think we want to show the beauty and the breadth of what people go through. I think that would be relevant to any time throughout the life of StarCraft 2 and how long it goes out, or how long.
So I guess more like on a personal level and the emotional, kind of like a capsule of the people involved, less the game itself. Yeah,
ideally, I would want it to be more about the people rather than the game. I think exploring, being a guy who's on top of the game and trying to maintain that position, and then also being an individual who's trying to break into the scene, and also, if you're one of the older individuals trying to still maintain his place on top, I think there's a lot of relevant conflicts and storyline that will persist, and I think will be relevant despite character or frame of time. If we made one of the main protagonists be somebody who's on top now, and then in 2013 the person's not on top anymore, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. You know, I think
There's
it's
even story there, I guess. More narrative to be had.
So, I mean, of all the stories that you've kind of witnessed thus far in StarCraft 2, and obviously I don't want to give away too much of your content, but what has been the one that you've really been most pulled towards thus far?
that's a pretty tough one. I think there are a ton of stories there to follow. I mean, StarCraft 2 itself, kind of coming onto the scene of esports so strongly, and bringing it to this level that we haven't seen since Counter-Strike. You know, I think obviously the person right now I think that I'm probably most interested in is White Raw. I think he has such a compelling story where he's come from, growing up in the Soviet Union and seeing that break up, and finding a livelihood and a way to make his way through the world, and through StarCraft, I think is a pretty strong story.
You guys, anyone else got any questions for him before I just keep asking them?
I mean, I'm fascinated by it. Like I said, I've really liked your trailers. I've liked working with you too, and I mean, I guess looking forward, where is this film going to go in terms of, are you going to make the pilgrimage to Korea? Are you going to go to White Raw's house and check out that? I mean, Eastern Europe is so different from an MLG, right? Like
yes.
the atmosphere for where they play StarCraft and for where we do is very, very different. So what kind of reach does your film have in its intention? Where are you going with this?
Well, you know, we want to go everywhere we can. You know, right now we're on a very tight budget. We're trying to be as wise as we can with where we're choosing to spend our time with people. Yesterday we visited Tyler in his home and met his wife Lindsay, and she made some fantastic banana nut bread. I tell you, me and Rick, my cinematographer's off camera here shooting us right now, we devoured that thing before we got to Austin. And if you don't, Austin and San Antonio are about an hour and a half apart, so we're just driving back, just munching on that. But you know, we absolutely want to go to Korea. We want to go to Europe, but right now we can only kind of choose one or the other. But we're giving this thing the best shot we can. You know, we're shooting for the stars. We want this to be the most fabulous thing that we can make. And but you know, right now our resources are pretty limited, so we're choosing you know, the best path that we can right now. But you know, absolutely, I want to go shoot every tournament. I want to be at every tournament, talk to everybody, visit everybody's home. But you know, right now that's not possible. So we're going to continue out here. We're going to be going to IPL3 next in a couple of weekends here. And we're going to be going to MLG Orlando, MLG Providence, and then we're going to probably take a breather after that, and you know, probably aim our sights at either Europe or North or South Korea. And I think there are compelling storylines on both fronts. I think I absolutely would love to go to everywhere we can, but I'd say right now we're probably shooting for Europe, but we definitely want to be everywhere.
Good. Cool.
The end goal of this, I mean, do you want to end up in movie theaters? Do you want to end up at like a Sundance, at an indie film festival, or where are you really looking to show this?
You got to aim high. We want to take it on a festival tour. We want to, you know, bring this to the broadest audience possible, and you know, we want to take it on a festival tour. We want to get it, you know, put in theaters. We want to be able to, you know, show it to parents, grandparents, girlfriends, in a relatable way. But you know, we're going to try and make it as broad as possible, and kind of come down from there. Like if we can't get into Sundance, you know, we'll try some other festivals, and you know, at the very least, we'll be releasing it online at some point. But
Tyler, Artosis, Sean, you guys got to ask at least one question. I'm going to demand it, so someone's got to jump forth.
I don't know. This is going to be put on the spot.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. As the first person talking, I will begin by saying 1, 2, 3, not it, and buy myself more time. I'm buying myself time.
Well, Tyler normally goes first, so go ahead, Tyler. I'll chime in after you.
I just
There you
chatted
go,
with this
Dan.
guy like for a while, and now I know everything about him. So
So ask one of the questions you already know. That's fine.
I don't know.
Is there anything that would compel you to do a sort of similar coverage to a different game?
You know, that's kind of a tough question. I mean, I'm so focused on this project right now. Like this scene is my whole life. Like it's all I do. I think about it. I dream about it. I can't sleep at night because, you know, I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to start thinking about the project. I have to leave, go work on it. So it's, you know, I don't think so. I don't think there's another game out there like StarCraft 2, and then there's definitely not another community out there like we've seen.
Yeah.
And these
I
people
have
are
a good
amazing.
question now. I have a good question. Who are the like main people, the main like storyline threads that you're following? I know you said White Raw, and I saw that in the preview, which was really cool. But what are like the main ones that you're trying to like tie together and really put a lot of content on in the documentary?
You know, I'm not sure if that's something entirely comfortable talking about. I mean, you know, obviously, I think there's probably just to throw it out there, there's probably three major um, like stories of conflict that you could approach to like you know a broader audience. You have this idea of you know underdog versus like a dominant group, so that'd be like foreigners versus Koreans. And then you have this notion, you know, does age play a factor in StarCraft 2? It does. It doesn't seem like it does, but it's probably a thread that you could easily weave into a storyline that's compelling to like a broader audience. And you know, that's obviously old versus young. You know, White Raw is still able to throw it down at his age. I think is pretty cool. And,
I'll reword the question for Dan. He wants to know: will you be making him a major part of the show anytime soon?
We would like to, but we hear there's another documentary being made about him, Sons of StarCraft, which sounds like it's going to be a
Well,
pretty damn good project.
they're gonna have to change the title. Dan's the grandpa of StarCraft, but yeah, they'll figure something out.
You know, I guess the other thread of conflict would be, you know, the semi-professionals trying to break into the professional scene. And so we have a few guys, you know, that are, you know, trying to give a pretty good shot of trying to get in, and you know, we don't know if they're going to be able to do it or not. And we'll be following them at MLG Orlando, and White Raw will be following there as well, and same with IPL3.
Well, I guess the next question then too is if White Rose is gonna be one of the main characters, will your movie have subtitles?
Well, more than likely. You know, I
English
sat down.
subtitles for English.
We had an hour and a half interview with White Raw in Anaheim, and I understood him completely clear. We had a great conversation, a great talk, and I showed the trailer I cut to my girlfriend, and she didn't understand anything she said. And so in the trailer we're like, well, put subtitles in, and I didn't like doing it, but.
Learn over time, really, by talking to White Raw. I mean, it takes a good 10 minutes till you actually can grasp what he's really getting at. So, but it comes pretty quickly. Tyler, you got your question, man, and then we're done. So it's all on your shoulders.
No, I'm so proud of my colleagues for their excellent questions.
This guy. Well, I know who I'm asking the rest of the questions to for the rest of the night.
Okay.
I got one last question. Where can people go if they want to support you? Do you need any extra support? I mean, you had that Kickstarter for a while there, and you also got the IMDb page, which I was reading a blog post. Seems pretty important. So, kind of talk about all that a little bit.
Sure. You can find us at www.starnationmovie.com. And yes, you know, we could always use more support. Making movies is pretty expensive. I mean, we're going to do everything that the Kickstarter, you know, promised, and but we want to make the scene much bigger than what it is now, and you know, we're chasing down investors and doing everything we can. And then, sorry, the last part of your question. Oh.
About it, and how important it is?
I mean, I'm not deeply like entrenched in the film community, but apparently, you know, Rick knows well enough that breaking into like the top 10,000 on any listing with IMDb is a pretty big deal, and it's something that turns heads in the industry. You know, a lot of that has to do with the StarCraft 2 community. Is you know, they have such a strong online presence, and you know, as soon as you know, Andrew put that up on the Facebook page, and you know, somebody put it on Reddit, and of course it's something that's very helpful. And if people could keep visiting the IMDb page, it'll help us, with talking to some of these distributors and all that.
Yeah, I'll go post it in the chat once we get done here. The other thing that I found was pretty remarkable. I think the stat was of all the documentaries on IMDb, Star Nation was number 15.
Yeah, I should get up to number 12.
That just speaks volumes for the StarCraft community actually going out there and supporting something like that. So, huge congrats on that. I mean, that's a pretty big deal, right?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it is a pretty big deal.
Well, guys, I don't think you have any more questions because you didn't have that many all night. But we're going to roll a short clip from is this the Anaheim teaser?
Yes.
So if you guys have never seen this before, go ahead and stay tuned. You can watch the rest of it over at starnationmovie.com. Justin, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, JP.
And good luck with the rest of the documentary.
All right, thanks, guys.
We'll be right back after this quick commercial break. All right, guys, welcome back. Jeff, quiet. Guys, welcome back to State of the Game. Let's go ahead and move on with the show. Thanks a lot to Justin Agnew for coming on, starnationmovie.com to check that out. Anyways, patch 1.4 has been out for about a week now. And the one race that it probably affected the most, although it probably affected Zerg a lot as well, but we got 3 Protoss here on the show. I want to get y'all's thoughts on it. We've been seeing a lot of Protosses win kind of as of late after the patch. Is this credited to the patch, or
No.
what do you guys think?
No, I think it's just finally these Protosses are doing well. It's actually some of the better Protosses, like Sage is actually the best Protoss.
You guys mean One Night in Code A, right?
Yeah. Well, that's a lot bigger than what it was before, man.
I was worried for a second. I was like, wait, they're winning? Where?
Oh, no,
it's the one.
Sage is kicking ass. Oz and JYP are doing good. And Oz and JYP are really good. I think JYP might be slightly better than Oz, in my opinion, even though he lost. Those builds were terrible. But Sage is like the real deal, and I don't think it mattered on the patch. He was going to get through Code A to the up and down easily anyways. He's much better than most players.
Now,
I hate this excuse in the past. I've yelled at Idra for this many a time. So maybe this is the hypocrisy coming through, and I'm just flipping around. But isn't Fruit Dealer Superstar, formerly Q Max, and who is the other Zerg?
What do you mean?
The ones that Protoss beat, aren't they pretty bad? Like, I know.
Oh yeah, no.
Tremendously
Superstar
bad.
is like the biggest cheesing newbie. Like, it's actually disgusting, and you can see because after every single game that he loses, he's like, because he knows that he's like, oh, my bullshit didn't work. I don't know. I'm an all-inner. Like, he actually is the guy that sits on the ladder in 6 pools all day. I'm not even joking. I've hit him so many times. It's pathetic. But yeah, and Fruit Dealer is like, I don't know, man. He's not any good. I can't believe he keeps getting around to 16. It's insane. He should be in Code B pretty soon, though.
what about the Warp Prism? Have you guys been seeing that a lot more since the patch, or been using it?
Yeah, it's actually.
Actually, it's played a little bit of a role in the pro games. I mean, it's not what's causing the Protosses to win, but they're using it and it's bulkier. So
Yeah.
Yeah. There have actually been. I've seen it like so many times recently, like fly into stuff that's hitting it that would have killed it before and then get away. And I'm like, oh, look at that! Like, you can actually storm drop a planetary with a turret next to it and get away. You can actually do that now, which is, I mean, I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's definitely different from before, where you see the turret,
They
you're
feel
like,
like a real unit.
I guess not.
They take some shit from people now, man. It's actually hilarious. Because your mind still registers that it's supposed to die.
That it's
it gets
supposed to
hit by,
die
like, 4
immediately.
things, and you're like, well, it's gone. And it's like actually still got shields. It's like, whoa. That's fucking, that's cool.
Sean, what about you? Have you been seeing Warp Prism usage a lot?
In PvZ late game, a lot. Like, because a lot of Protosses just, like, used to just have 3,000 minerals. And that's just, like, what you would do. And if you built Zealots, you get laughed at. Because, like, every single Zerg unit just crushes them. But now you can run around with the Warp Prisms and Warp Zealots and all over the place. And it's just really, 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 really good. Like, Hero's been doing it a ton. Like, that game of Hero vs. Idra on Metalopolis was really sweet.
What tournament was that in?
DreamHack Valencia.
Oh, okay, okay.
It was actually in 1.3.6, but I
Yeah,
mean, like,
yeah.
it's kind of one of those things, like Tyler said it a lot, that they always make changes to units that make you, that Blizzard, like, grabs you and is like, use this unit, just use it, alright, use it. And it's all of a sudden people are like, oh, I can use Warp Prism. Oh, and it's like the strategy was always there, but they never really paid attention to it.
Moving along, I mean, Artosis,
Yeah.
you've been pretty critical, at least to me, not publicly yet, but Blizzard changed the way APM
Oh yeah.
was.
I thought you were gonna, talk about someone I talk shit on privately.
No, man, I'm not going to talk
Really?
about
I'm
hunger
like,
crime. What are you talking about?
Dude, yeah, like, I'll actually...
Yeah.
Let me beat Dan to that. What happened to APM? APM, like, okay, when
I don't
Brood
know.
War Chart came out, like, it made sense. It took all your actions, and then it divided it by the number of minutes, and that was your actions per minute,
Yeah.
and there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
That's
And then all of a
actions per
sudden-
minute, in fact, that's what that is.
That is actions per minute. And what it did is it tried to compute this kind of odd, murky statistics called EAPM, or effective actions per minute. And, you know, you learn that people like Jaedong have like 200 EAPM, and that's like really good. And, you know, this is, I guess, kind of another metric that you can use to differentiate between like someone who just spams a lot and someone who's actually good. But the easiest way to find out if someone's actually good is to be like, what's his APM? Oh, and what's his Icy Cup rank? You know, it's like the easiest second step ever. And when StarCraft 2 came out, there was like the Blizzard APM where it removed some redundancy and was dividing by Blizzard minutes to give you a number that didn't actually have that much meaning, but for some people it was kind of high. And MLGs would be like, look at his APM, I'm sure that means something. Now, moving on to the game, you know, like Show has 90 APM and this guy has like 400 APM and whatever. And now it's like no one has higher than like 15.
They actually ruined APM. As Sean said, it actually did mean something before. Like, you'd look at it, you'd be like, all right, these are the Terrans that have 400 APM, and it was like the greatest macro Terrans. And yes, some of that's spamming, but Blizzard has taken something that they didn't invent, APM, that was invented by JCA and coddled by the StarCraft community. They added it into the game, measured it wrongly at first, where you had to do this weird math problem to actually get how many actions per minute they're doing, which means something. And then they just made up this, like, completely made... Everyone has the same APM now. Like, you actually just can't tell if someone's fast or slow. And it's like, I can't actually get my head around the fact that they did this. It's actually insane. Why would you just take out this statistic that can be cool, can be good? You know, there's all these people that are like, oh, APM doesn't matter or something. Actually, yeah, it matters. Like, this is actually why July Zerg exists. He had, like, huge APM way back. He had, like, 300 APM when everyone else was, like, 140. So, like... He got picked up by a pro team and became a superstar. And it's like, it does mean something up at the top level. And now we no longer have it measured. We're going to have to use other programs. I guess that's fine. We did it in StarCraft 1, but why not just take it out if you're going to like neuter it into this number that is meaningless?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought
or
if they
Tyler?
were gonna like do anything with it, it's like, okay, like make it bigger in number just so it can be more impressive to people that don't, you know, because like for StarCraft 1, you could say, hey, look at these pro gamers. They have 350 APM, and you can tell them what that is, and they're like, holy shit, is that real? Do they actually do that? You'd be like, yeah, they do. And now with StarCraft 2, like everyone has artificially lower APM, and like so it's less impressive to the outside person, and it's not useful. Like I just don't get it. Like if they're gonna mess with it, then make it higher. Although you couldn't make it higher than what it originally was because it has a very strict definition. So it just kind of blows my mind. I don't know why they do this.
Did they state? I mean, they usually announce or post something afterwards after a big patch why they changed everything. Did they announce at all why they changed to this? I didn't check that out at all.
I mean, I don't think they have to say. I mean, I think they're trying to make it a more useful thing, but they need to call it something else because APM, like I said, has a strict definition.
Yeah.
And the whole Blizzard minute thing was just silly. Like, I understand it's like normal is a normal speed, and then we play on fast and it messes it up or whatever. But couldn't they just add another like number into the
And
calculation to fix it?
Here's another little thing too. The Blizzard clock, it's for the normal speed.
Yeah.
But anyone who goes through the menu and is smart enough to put on if they're actually looking for a clock timer to be on there, they're playing on faster, not normal. So It's like it doesn't come on when you install. So anyone that's just playing like, I don't even know what you would play on normal. I don't know that anyone actually plays normal. Maybe that's like the casual setting on the campaign or something. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It like blows my mind. This is like such a simple thing to fix.
Jeff, you have any thoughts on the whole APM debacle?
I feel like once again Tyler kind of channels what I think strikes me as the most odd about it is that for all intents and purposes they're changing APM, right? They're interpreting it and they're making it their own. Why not build it up so Joe Blow can log on in a Silver League, play some games, and be like, whoa, I have 76 APM, whereas last week I was down to 45, you know? Like, I think that just makes more sense to me, but to just completely neuter it to the smallest number possible, and then it's set through these weird different, it's not actions anymore. I don't care about redundant or not redundant. It's just not actions anymore. It's something else. Like, what are you doing?
It's like having a production tab where you make 10 Zerglings, and it's like, yeah, but Zerglings kind of fucking sucks. You're basically making 4 Zerglings, right? Like 4 StarCraft 1 Zerglings. That's what we're going to list right there.
I don't know. I mean, I think the part that pisses me off, and again, I can't help but to say first and foremost, I know I sound extremely ungrateful. I love 99% of what Blizzard does. I'm a big fan. Obviously, I play StarCraft 2 for a living, for God's sakes. But they keep having these weird surface changes that are like either wrong or nobody gives a shit about it. Like, why are we working on the APM when I can't watch a replay with Tyler or something, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know how much that fixes casting? Like, all the leagues around the world, all that weird, awkward conversation where they're like, okay, do you have to replay Shinker? Okay, yeah. All right. You're going to go live in 3, 2, 1. Okay, go. And then it like, oh, my computer's paused. Where are you at? You know, like all that shit. It makes it look so ugly. If we're all just both in the same game, it's like, ugh. Just hurts my head.
That is true. I guess it's time for a segment that I'm just going to call from here on out is actual strategy talk, because we don't do it enough of it around here. Sean, this is actually something that you provoked out of me as your webcam looks to be frozen. So fix that, because I don't have a way to type to you to tell you that.
I'm wiggling.
Well, you're not wiggling on camera, but
all right, turning it off. Turning it on.
Anyways, you brought this up last week about how we actually don't talk anything whatsoever about strategy. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Sean. You're going to start this discussion out. What have you been seeing that's kind of changing right now in the game?
I'm just going to answer. I'm just going to talk about something different. So, in Protoss vs. Zerg,
Wow.
in Protoss vs. Zerg, okay, so you know how a lot of Protosses will open like one Zealot, couple sentries, like maybe 6, 7, like make sometimes 2 Zealots if there's a lot of Zerglings. Why exactly is it that Zergs or that Protosses like stop making a lot of sentries then? Because it's generally like 8 or 9, and then you'll see them transition into a robo or begin to make stalkers and do a push. I'm curious why there's not like 10, 11, 12 Zealot plus like 8 to 10 sentry pushes, or even like 15 sentry plus 8 Zealots more often.
You mean like as a timing rush or something?
As like a standard way to open.
Well, I mean, you can go heavy sentry, but if you can't kill them, like if they just make a bunch of spine crawlers or something, and then you have all these sentries, all this gas tied up, and like baneling drops and or infestors are going to kill all of them, and that's a pretty big loss.
Well, I mean, because I haven't been in some circumstances where players have gone like Ling Infestor, and that actually feels like the most comfortable, because you can just very easily go straight into Zealot Archon, because you already have like a lot of Zealots out. And like, I mean, because I feel like if they make a bunch of spine crawlers, then yeah, you probably can't break it, but you can just like pull back, and all of a sudden you're like 2 base versus 2 base. Because I mean, like I had seen the Zealot sentry push happen as like a big timing attack where I better win with it and it better work, and then it just sort of went away, and I haven't seen it like tried to be fleshed out a lot. Because it all came about the idea of like, there seems to come this point where a lot of Protosses are just like, all right, well, I'm done making sentries. And there's the obvious, like, yeah, I'll build like 2 sentries so I can Guardian Shield later, but... Tell me a little bit about that Infestor thing. Let's talk purely theoretically, since I'm obviously not playing right now to test it.
there's not a lot of hit points on the sentry, so I mean, fungals are going to kill it really, really, really quickly. And then, of course, Baneling drops are making a comeback right now because of the Infestor nerf. Especially on Korea, we're seeing a lot of Roach Baneling drops again, and we're seeing a lot of Mutas again. And, I mean, sentries do okay-ish against Mutas, but really what you want is some High Templars and Stalkers with Blink, because it's more mobile and more damage.
Yeah.
And there's not really a place for that many sentries anymore. You know, Protosses know where to engage. Like, yeah, 50 sentries is good if you're in the middle of the map. You can actually make whatever architecture you want to engage. But as long as you stay along edges, you put your army where it's supposed to be, do you actually even need that many sentries? And then, of course, they just die so quickly. If someone's actually coming at you with a full army and Banelings and Overlords, sentries, I mean, like, they are just all going to die. And you're going to be like, that's 1,100 gas gone. I should not have made
Sean,
it.
are you asking about, like, sustaining your sentry count throughout the entirety of the game? So you're asking, like,
I'm
replenishing
talking largely about that thicker sentry push and then transitioning into something else. Well, like for me, you can do, like, a timing push at, like, 10 minutes. And that's kind of what I wanted to follow up with, Dan, because I mean, like, definitely Baneling drops are going to like totally fuck it up. Infestor drops are going to really, or just Infestors in general are going to hurt. But it's kind of like a bigger timing push that I think comes early enough. Because if you build a Twilight Council and your third and fourth gas a little before you push, like for instance, the big thing that I was encountering is that Roaches with Speed and Roaches with Burrow on 2 base will have just finished if they're really committing to go to it, and they'll only have 2 bases.
Yes,
if they can't have both, though, so if they have Roach Burrow, or I'll just say this because this is something that I worked through, that if they have Roach Burrow, then the Roaches move at the same speed as your Zealots and Sentries, so you always can retreat. It's a little rocky. I probably need to build my own Robo Bay earlier, build a forward cannon. If they go Roaches with Speed, you have so many ridiculously many force fields that you can still force field and run away, or force field and engage. But go on.
Oh, sorry. After the July MC finals, there was a metagame shift in Korea to Protosses using a quadrillion sentries and doing this type of thing, which forced the Zergs to, instead of back at that time, everyone was getting Roach Speed really quickly, and everyone switched over to Burrow movement really quickly. And as long as you did that, the sentry push doesn't actually have observers. And as you say, yeah, it's just finishing up when you get there. But the thing is, that's fine. They can then expand once or twice even, because you actually can't do anything now. Now you have all these units that actually aren't really that good against Burrow movement Roaches. So the Korean metagame kind of already played out that scenario. And then and that was actually before Baneling drops were popular, that was before Infestors were popular, both of which own up sentries. Yeah. So now you put all that together and it's like, oh, this already played out metagame is kind of... It's like okay, and like it won MC a championship, but it's kind of been a little bit solved. And then you have like these super hard counters to it, and it's like a little bit dangerous. You don't really have, you can control certain situations, but other ones you're going to be slow against mutas. Infestors are going to kill your sentries. Banelings are going to kill your sentries. It's like, eh.
If I could jump in here real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Tyler. Go ahead.
I mean, I was just going to say this build sounds like you absolutely have to get Hallucination and see what the Zerg is going, because there definitely seems like some openings the Zerg could be going that's kind of a pretty hard dead end for you, and the Hallucination will save you a lot of trouble. It's just one less sentry to get Hallucination. And yeah, I could see how this build could punish some openings, and so if you get Hallucination and you see that, then you can go ahead with it. And then if it's going to be a dead end, like if Artosis is right that there are these dead ends, then you can see it coming a lot quicker and adjust.
Well, I feel like, if I could say something, Sean.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of things that are at play here that need to be brought to light as well. I mean, there's certainly the extreme that Dan's talking about, where there's just flat-out hard counters like Burrow first or any kind of really thick Roach 2-base play. And then the transition period that he talks about needs to be brought into the limelight as well, because that's actually hugely problematic. The longer the game goes where most of your gas is being dumped into sentries, the further off you're putting a backbone tech like a Colossus, like Storm, or like really well upgraded Gateway army that's going to be able to combat the very basic tier of Zerg. So it either has to work really strongly, or the transition's going to be nullified to a certain extent. But I think a big issue that hasn't been brought up just yet is that while those extremes exist, what actually is happening too in the metagame is that just in general, that style doesn't work as well because a lot of Zergs are going 3 hatch +1 melee, and they're very counter heavy. Now, I know what you're saying. Sentries sound great against Lings, but actually they make so many Lings that eventually your force fields wear out, or eventually you can't be everywhere at once, extending yourself across the map, but also putting aggression on. And the Lings make it so there is no escape. You do die. When +1 gets into contact with Sentry, they evaporate like there's no tomorrow. So there is still effective angles. Like if you can get a pylon up right next to their base, or if you can get that force field where you block off their hatchery, and God forbid if they put the macro hatchery inside their main as well, then you're in an amazing position, of course. But there's a lot of ifs there, and I think when you just look at it, there's the extremes, then there's the general. It doesn't really work against what most Zergs are doing now, and it also hurts the Protoss play, and all those things culminate towards we don't do it anymore.
And there's even one other thing. You mentioned about, if they made a bunch of spine crawlers, you're not going to bust them, but it's 2-base. But that's actually gaining popularity in Korea right now. Of course, there's Infestor builds, which already kind of did that. But Muta builds, a lot of people are testing out Muta builds right now in Korea. There's a lot of people going Muta. They're going 2-base Muta right now into mass expanding everywhere on the map and just completely counter heavy. It's really hard to play against. I mean,
Muta's strong. Muta's strong.
Do you know when the Mutalists end up popping out?
I don't have the exact time. I mean, I know in game because I've been playing a lot recently, but I don't have like a time for you. Sorry.
Yeah, because I mean that's because the thing that excites me most about the idea of doing like a zealot sentry, and to be clear, I definitely agree with a lot of the concept that if I make too many sentries all game long, I just can't do anything else. Like I'm committing myself to sentry. But I was thinking kind of like people generally stop at like 6 to 8, adding on just 3 or 4 more. So it's not super extreme. I do feel like that is kind of a lot of gas, 400 extra gas, especially at that stage. But I like the idea that I can be up against a Zerg who's 2-basing in a lot of circumstances. A lot of 3-base plays, unless the people, that whose replays I've been looking at, are not quite doing their timings right. I like thinking, okay, well, if I can get them down to 2-base, well, then let me work with that and see if there's some way to pop out of that. Because, there's a lot of problems that I've seen in, Shakrest Plateau style, where it's like, all right, well, I'm going to early expand. You're going to get up 3 bases and get so much money that you can be maxed by, 11 minutes.
Yeah, I actually have a build kind of like what you're saying. I based it off of the AnyPro 7-gate. If you actually go for a 1-1 7-gate with Observer off of, 48 to 50 probes, you have about 9 sentries, and if they took the 3rd, you can deny that, and then you're even 2-base. But what you have to be really wary of is if they stay 2-base, which they are right now, you have this army that isn't really that cost effective. You're trying to make it cost effective through sentry play, and that can make it cost effective, but they're actually the ones going for these cost effective units. The harassing mutas, just actively being around the map, and or rather, not and, it could be infestors, which, even though it's 2-base, they're the ones going for cost-efficient units. The cost-efficient units that are going to gain you money, if both players are playing intelligently, is going to be like Colossus or something, or Psystorm. So, even though you're even for a little bit, the Zerg is then going to have control because of that and take more bases.
Muta stuff recently is actually part of the reason why I go Stargate almost every single PvZ I play. It's good scouting information. You're always going to get a couple overlords. You can kill queens, delay 3rd, but also, if you notice them heading towards mutas, I don't think you can react. I mean, of course, this is not an ultimate truth, but in my opinion, doing reactive Phoenix to mutas is really, really bad, but being preemptive with the Phoenix, like if you have 2 or 3 to build on, then they're really, really strong. You have to be on equal numbers or more, and you shut them down.
Yeah, but if you try to react with it, it does not work. It's actually the worst thing you can do. They will kill you. That is so true, Jeff. You are so smart.
I heard you, sir.
They need Corsairs. Oh, those were so awesome.
I don't like Phoenixes against mutas at all. I've had games where I do that and they just expand everywhere, and I'm like, and I'm
they
trying
just keep making Mutalisks.
And they just
if I want to go reactive Phoenixes, right? If I'm oh god, he's going Mutalisk, I have to build 3 Stargates and get +1.
And you have to chronos the entire time.
It's all your and cut probes.
And then they have so many
kill
Lings
off other units because you can't afford pylons.
It's you can't go reactive Phoenix against Muta. It just does not work. And then like if you went Phoenix against Muta and they like just randomly switch into Infestor from Muta and they just have like a medium-sized flock and they catch you and it's like ha, 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 good try, you die.
I think that'll do it for actual strategy talk today. Unless Sean, do you have any more topics? I mean, that was actually great. So if you have any more blurbs like that can spawn some conversation, feel free, man.
I'll hold off till next week because
All right.
I have to go in 20 minutes and I don't want to be like strategy, bye, and then just like disappear.
That sounds good to me. So guys, we're gonna take a break. Oh, Sean.
I'll make an announcement when you come back from break.
All right. So when we come back, Sean's gonna make an announcement. Don't go anywhere. Announcement of an announcement. It wouldn't be a state of the game if it was not for that. We've also got some changes in Group D. In MLG, we'll be talking about the World Championship put on by IESF over in South Korea, and then talk about the OGN casting the WCG StarCraft 2 matches over the past weekend, as well as IEM China. And Tyler, did you watch Liquid vs. Slayers, or should I just scratch that?
I did
watched
not
it.
watch that. Oh, Jeff watched it.
Jeff, okay. We'll get Jeff to talk about Liquid vs. Slayers then. So guys, we'll be right back. Enjoy the commercials, because I know you will. All right, guys, welcome back to State of the Game. Let's talk about the changes to Pool D at MLG. Dongergu and Sock had to drop out, and because the pools are already locked, they won't be reorganized or recalculated. So, Tyler, as you said best in the intro, you have Artosis your way into a tournament.
Yes,
as well as Hero coming in, 2 Liquid members getting into pool play.
Yeah.
So that means 4 Protoss now in Group D and July. I mean, what are your thoughts on that, first off? Having, I think that's the most Protoss, probably the majority of the Protoss in the top 20 as well in Pool D.
Well, I'm actually kind of happy with it. I think it's an opportunity. At least that's how I'm looking at it, because I think PvP is developing right now in response to the patch. And, you know, because Immortals and the warp in changes pretty significant for PvP.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think anyone's really figured it out. Like, oh, here's obviously what we do now. So I feel like I can, you know, do what I did in StarCraft 1, which is just sit down and think of a new build to do that no one else is doing, and hopefully it beats everyone. So that's kind of going to be my approach for this group. If I can come in with some kind of system of playing PvP that's original and no one knows what to do and it kind of counters what they're doing, then I'll do really well in the group. But I think if I'm doing the same thing as everyone else, then they're probably just going to outplay me for the most part. So
right.
Got to think of something.
What about your PvZ, I mean, against July? Are you just going to go in with what you already know and kind of understand in that matchup?
No, I mean, that's also a matchup that's changing a lot, so I'm definitely going to try to prepare something, but obviously just by the numbers, I got to focus on PvP.
Jeff and everyone else, just real quick thoughts on the Pool D change. I don't want to spend too much time on this, so.
anytime you take Dong Regu out of a tournament, and I think a lot of the diversity that Sake added, that it's a shame. I mean, I think everyone, despite being huge fans of Tyler and Hero, both of which command gargantuan fan bases, and rightfully so, Sake has been tearing up Europe. He's been really exciting to watch. Been doing really, really well. He's one of the top, I don't know, 4 or 5 Protosses in Europe. You can even make an argument for top 3. And it's too bad he's not going to make it. And then you've got Dong Regu, who's kind of a fan favorite. He just recently did the Team Liquid Attack. He was hilarious on Live on 3.
That was a good episode.
Yeah, he's a fun community guy. He's one of those Koreans that's got personality, so people want to see him. And these kind of things happen. It's a nice problem we have where there's too many tournaments floating around and there's too much demand for these players.
Yeah.
But one thing I would say is I think the group went from the absolute group of death where it was like we were laughing at Huck and stuff to, okay, 4 PvPs means you've got one matchup that you really need to focus on. They don't have any Terrans in there, any Korean Terrans. I would probably gladly trade Tyler for my group. In fact, Tyler, I think we could broker this deal right now. Just sign off on this. I'm willing to go for it. Puma, Bomber, they're not that. I don't know. They win it. So, I don't know.
Yeah, your group is pretty tough.
Dan, quick thoughts on Group D?
I'm actually just really sad about the change. I mean, it's nice to have those 2 up there because they're 2 of my favorite Protosses, but I think they just get through the bracket anyways. I think that's not really an issue as long as they don't hit the few Koreans that are going to be down there.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of sad to lose. Sok has a really cool style, and of course Hero is this amazing style that's so fun to watch. Or rather, I mean, Dong Regu is just godly. So it changes the layout of the tournament quite a bit because Dong Regu is such a badass. And Hero's a badass, but Dong Regu is actually more of a badass. He's more frightening to take the tournament than is Hero.
Well, who's going to beat Zergs now? I mean, Terrans. Who's going to beat Terrans?
Yeah.
Dong Regu is the guy that it's is anyone going to beat a Korean Terran? Well, maybe Dong Regu.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
now he's gone.
It makes the tournament, I think, a little bit less interesting not having Dong Regu. I think he's just such a great addition to any tournament with players like Puma and Bomber in it. But it's fine. These 2 players are good replacements.
Sean, you're still with us here on the call, even though your webcam's down at the bottom for
Yeah,
everyone
dude,
watching.
I don't know what that is because everything's up
I don't
to
know,
date
man.
and it works. And damn it, it's always just me.
Here's what it is, Sean. Skype's a piece of shit. Is what it is.
Yay! I like that.
So, Group D, real quick thoughts.
I'm really happy that Hero's there because he is rapidly becoming my favorite Protoss just because he's absolutely beastly against Zerg. I mean, against Dong Regu, when they had their extended series last MLG, he was down 0-2 and won 3 in a row, and then barely lost Game 6 and barely lost Game 7. I guess Game 6 was less barely, but it was still really, really close, and he just looks so unbelievably sick against everyone else, and I'm just yeah, go him. And other than that, I actually don't like it because I hate that there's this weird mass Protoss all-in-one group thing because I think everyone kind of quietly agrees that Protoss is the race that's hurting the most in tournaments. They just tend to just drop out early and completely ignoring any statement of balance. In terms of observability of a tournament, I want to see a lot of variety of matchups. I hate that it's all right, yeah, and there's Protosses in there, so now it's an even distribution of races in the top. And we have all the Protosses in one group so they can eliminate each other. For me, that makes me most excited for Championship Sunday, but for the pool play, I'm kind of damn it, can we do some swapping around?
Well, how about I make you a deal, Sean? I'll give Nick and Dan all the PvPs for Friday night, and you can have all the non-PvPs.
I'll take PvPs, man. That matchup's getting really cool.
Yeah,
it is.
Well, let me rephrase what Dan said. I'll take PvP. I want to have a 45-minute break every hour.
That's what I was getting.
Yeah.
That's what I knew he was getting at too. So, well, let's kind of shift gears here. Talk about the IESF 2011 World Championships, and they're going to be held in Seoul, South Korea.
Wait, I'm going to make my announcement, JP.
Oh yeah, you got to make your announcement. So Sean, make your
Yeah,
announcement.
because this is kind of related back to Tyler playing at MLG, but Tyler, along with 10 others, were invited to the Red Bull Training Only LAN, which I'm really excited about. because Jeff's lucky in that like his team has like an entire house where they all get to like sit there and train, but a lot of Western players don't. So that's why I'm really excited about the Red Bull land, because I'm working with them to try to create an environment that is really good for just practice. Like that is the whole focus.
Jeff, you had the can turned the wrong way, by the way.
What?
It's all right. It's all right. I'm just trying to help you, man.
So there's a lot of those players who are going to be in those tournaments at like IPL and MLG, and I'm hoping that like that lands a chance to like really figure out some good builds and good strategies. Because it's going to be 11 players just training. There's like no prize, no rankings, no nothing, just training. Yeah.
Did are all the players announced, Sean?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just making sure that
I can.
You want to read them
remember.
to us?
Joking aside,
if I can do it off the top of my head, what?
it's effing awesome because one of the things I said way back when Monster talked about sponsoring EG, where's Red Bull? Where's Rockstar? I'm waiting for the Rockstar land. I'm waiting for Team Liquid Rockstar. And Tyler goes like, at the end of the game, oh fucking Rockstar 2. They're cool. You don't give a shit.
That's how they'll drop the announcement.
What a match.
Tyler would be the funniest spokesperson for Rockstar, actually, because it would be so painfully obvious at all times that he hasn't drank any Rockstar because he's so chill. But then there'll be the one state of the game where we'll be like, JP, let's go. Let's get the show going. I'm tired. I got, 4 hours to go? Actually, I could do it another 16 hours. That's fine. Let's just do the show now, do another one after that, and let's talk about MLG afterwards. I got all night to go. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's go.
Well, we'll wait and see if that happens with Tyler. But ISF, or actually, Sean, real quick, where can we see, where can we find out more information about the Red Bull land?
If you go to redbullusa.com/LAN.
All right, go check it out. Crash the website, guys. Do me that favor. Now, ISF 2011 World Championships in Seoul, South Korea. No Koreans playing. Jeff or Artosis, which one of you wants to take this first? I know
Jeff
that
can go first.
Jeff could go first.
All right. IESF is actually the event that a lot of us close to State of the Game and the people therein reference when they talk about one of their best Brood War trips. Machine, this is his first trip to Korea. It was my first trip to Korea. It was a magical moment. Artosis showed us the amazing mecca of StarCraft. It was IESF Korea. Now they've announced IESF Korea for StarCraft 2. Initially, they emailed me a couple months back about IESF, and I said, hey, is this for StarCraft 2? And they go, no, it's for Brood War. I was like, thanks anyways. I'm not going to show up and play Brood War. But it's going to be StarCraft 2, but because it's Kespa ran, so not a lot of people necessarily understand this, Kespa is still kind of figuring out what their role is with StarCraft 2. They will not be sending any Korean players because my assumption is, and I don't have the literature in front of me, so please, if someone knows better, jump in. They don't want to, endorse it to the highest degree with their big label players, i.e. Koreans, because they haven't yet worked out a relationship with Blizzard and the people. So it's going to be a StarCraft 2 tournament in Korea with no Koreans, and that concept, I can't help but smile. That's freaking awesome. Could you imagine an American tournament where they're like, "Whoa, let me see your passport. American, get your ass out of here, you dumbass. Get out!" Like, this is not for you. Thank you.
Yeah. They're bringing over like a huge amount of foreign players too.
Have they
Some
announced the
ridiculous
list yet?
amount. I don't think so. It's really pretty poorly ran so far. It seems it's like it's disgusting though that Kespa is not sending a. I mean, you don't even have to pay money. They can just be like, all right, NST, just go. I mean, I know that they know that Zerg Bong is owning it up. All right, they could just do that. It's just so sad because that's so petty. I understand there's like business things and everything, but I mean, hell, they even just had the WCG on OGN. So
Yeah.
just send a player. Just have Korea represented in this tournament. It's like they just completely delegitimized the tournament as far as I'm concerned. There's not a Korean in it. It's like, oh, you won that? Oh, good for you. Okay. It's like,
Yep.
You didn't go through a Korean man. It doesn't actually matter. But you send one Korean, you send an S tier MVP, then it matters, man. You get second in ST. That's 10 times bigger than actually winning the tournament. Seriously, because no one's even going to care. No one's going to watch. It's a sad thing. They fucked up this tournament. This tournament's putting in a lot of money to have this, to make sure people are coming out here and run this tournament. And Kespa just, It's a terrible thing. It's a travesty of esports that something like this is allowed to happen. I should actually run the world. That's what it should be. I should
It
be the
actually
dictator.
murders the tournament too, like, which is weird. It's funny because they're going to be putting on a tournament, which means they're paying thousands of dollars through, I don't know if Kespa directly owns it or whatever, but it's Kespa money. And then they're butchering the viewership. The storyline is going to be about how there's not Koreans there, not about like the amazing lineups and stuff. And they're just going to lose a lot of money. And I don't know. I don't know if they're going to lose money, but I guess the point is, if they had Koreans there, nobody would be talking about these bad storylines. They'd only be talking about how awesome it is that there's this whole tournament coming back and doing.
It would be so exciting, man. It would be so great. And they only need one Korean down there. It doesn't even need to be an ST. Seriously, you just send anyone down that's famous from Korea, and again, they don't have to actually spend any money. Some pencil-pushing ass at Kespa, all he has to do is be like, all right, this guy can go.
So I have a list of the qualified players for the tournament. It is Grubby, Og, Minochi, Elfie, Zeal, Goody, Show, Happy, Ball, Death Fate, or O'Reilly, Ciara, Osho, Death Angel, Revenant, and Biggs. So I guess, Jeff, you haven't been announced
Is
yet.
this a Warcraft 3 or StarCraft 2 tournament? Ah!
Oh, you mean that the people are announcing?
Wait.
This is
I don't know
Is
if
the
I'm
tournament?
going.
this is players that have been qualified for it.
Oh, I don't know.
Did USA have a qualifier?
No, I don't think so.
How did Og get in?
Who's running this?
Wait a second.
Yeah, a number of 40 nations have been announced to participate in the event. However,
We
the
might
list...
have had a qualifier. It's at the same time as another tournament, I think.
Yeah, no, Idra won the U.S. qualifier, apparently.
Yes. Okay, that tournament. Yeah. No, we
okay.
actually did quite well there.
Oh, that's good.
We had a pretty good showing in that. And Idra won, but he can't go because they have a whole bunch of weird stuff going on there. I guess we can talk a little bit more funny stuff because I've heard some other things now that I know what tournament you're talking about.
Let's talk
They're
fun
talking
stuff.
to a caster who's not one of the main ones that they want to get to go over there, but they're basically saying he needs to pay his own way, pay for his hotel, and then they'll let him cast. Which, by the way, sounds like WCG 2007 or 6 USA. That's kind of funny.
That sucks.
These events, man. I don't
not
know.
good to hear.
And the
That's kind of
caster's
funny,
thinking
though.
about it.
That's
by the way.
funny because I live here, and people generally like my casting, so it's like, oh, okay, all right.
That's a pretty good point, Dan.
I love when that happens, man. It's so funny.
Let me.
Yeah, it's a very strangely ran tournament. I'm glad you connected those dots. For whatever reason, I wasn't seeing that, but yeah. The people who ran the U.S. qualifier were really nice and everything, but it just had this weird... Like, I kept getting the vibe that it was a scam the whole time, and I don't think it is. But it's a really weird vibe to get the whole time, because they're like, yeah, the qualifier, start in 20 minutes. I don't give a shit. And, like, someone doesn't show up, kind of. He's like, do you want to take the win? And then, like, for Greg, they're like, oh, it's at this time. He's like, oh, okay, I'm not going. So I think Chef actually is going for USA.
I see. Tyler or Sean? Any thoughts on this?
No comment.
No comment from Tyler?
I
Man.
did not really know that much about it. I'm getting to a point where there's like so many tournaments going on. I have to be really on the ball just to like follow all of them.
Well,
And that fact is good.
yeah.
Does that mean that esports is doing well? If like I of all people am having trouble keeping up, but I don't actually. This is some of the first I've ever heard about it.
Well, I think it's that time in the show where I actually get Tyler to talk about something. Tyler, you were streaming WCG the other night.
Yeah.
Talk to me about those games. And the other thing, too, that I want to talk about this tournament is you go on Twitter, and I actually learned about it through, I think it was Kinnigat that was tweeting about it, who was mentioning how big a deal it is for StarCraft 2 to be on OGN. So if you can kind of speak to that as well.
Yeah, well, OGN is, I mean, you got OGN and MVC, and maybe Artosis can chip in if I say anything wrong. They're the two like cable network channels that have been broadcasting StarCraft 1 forever, and they played a huge role in making StarCraft 1 what it is today as an esport in Korea. And OGN, arguably like the more prestigious one, they have the more famous caster. I think he's called the Overlord, something like that. and
Beyblade leader.
No. The
No.
chubby guy.
yeah, the older like chubby guy. Um, anyway, so like OGN's like the place for StarCraft pretty much as far as like broadcasting matches goes, and you know most of the StarCraft 1 fans haven't switched over to StarCraft 2 in Korea because StarCraft 1 never stopped. Like why would they stop? Like their pro gamers are still playing StarCraft 1 for the most part, so they still tune in to OGN and NBC to watch these games and to get StarCraft 2 and a recognizable name in WCG. Like they're familiar with WCG. To get it on OGN is pretty huge, and it was like 640 by 480 or something like that. Like it wasn't HD. That was kind of sad. They need to like get on the ball there, but they had Boxer commentating with
The Marine and the main guy.
Marine, and the main guy. So it was like basically the best commentating team you could possibly get to introduce this to like basically non-StarCraft 2 fans that are StarCraft 1 fans. And I don't know Korean, but I was listening to it and they kept like saying like StarCraft 2. Like there was a point when there was like a DT that Hero had that the Zerg couldn't see, and they were like saying how he needs Overseer, and in StarCraft 2 you need an Overseer. Overlord doesn't give vision. So as from what I could gather, they're kind of casting for people that don't know StarCraft 2 as a game that well to introduce these people. So that's
That's kind of cool.
pretty cool because it's important. Like for the future of StarCraft 2, I don't want StarCraft 1 to die. I hate the fact that for us to grow, like they have to shrink and be less successful. But like, Korea's the place, man. And if we can get all those true, passionate, hardcore, long-term StarCraft 1 fans to switch to StarCraft 2, that'd be pretty huge. And I mean, OGN must kind of be on board with switching, or else they wouldn't have done this. So I think maybe that's a bit indicative that, for them to put their weight behind this, they're kind of, thinking StarCraft 2 is gonna be something that they need to be involved in down the road.
That is true. Now, to talk about the actual games, Marine King and Hero, that was a pretty good series from what I remember, wasn't it?
It's actually the only series I've seen so far. Where do I find those VODs anyways? Because
they're on GOM TV.
The VODs of WCG?
I couldn't believe he won that Antigua Shipyard game. That was bonkers.
That was the one where he came back from really far behind, right?
Well, it was one of the ones that Tyler actually casted or rebroadcasted and commentated on. It was fascinating because Hero made a lot of traditional Protoss mistakes. Zealots behind, Immortals kind of wanking around in the back. This is post-patch too, so that excuse isn't there. But in the other engagements, he had fantastic army control. He had great army composition, just really cool. And what I loved and what really tugged at my heartstrings and brought back that nostalgic feeling was, like everyone kept talking about the OGN production, how amazing it was. I didn't find it particularly amazing, but what I did really like is I thought they did a fantastic job of roping me into the players. Like, for some reason, Hero looked more intense during that match, and perhaps he was, but kudos to OGN for relaying that. But it looked crazy. Like, they'd show him zooming on his face, his mouth's open, he's typing furiously, and it was like a really close moment. And you could actually see on Marine King's face when he realized he was losing, because for a long time he was in a commanding position. And then there was one fight where his army gets wiped out, and they show him, and he's not a really... Like, he cries after every loss, but during the actual match, he doesn't like change his face too much. But you saw him go like, his face like frowned a little bit. And he's like, "You son of a bitch." It was really cool.
If you watched the last match where he played the Zerg, I forgot who it was, Horror, I think. Like, he had that game lost, and they would cut to his face, and you'd see he's like, "Oh shit, am I really gonna lose like this?" And then he like remarkably came back to win. And then his face reflected that too. So they really capture the emotions. They're like perfect with when they switch to look at the face. It's really nice.
Yeah, they definitely have more experience in that way. And I just got to say, as like a StarCraft 1 guy that watched Infinity's StarCraft 1 games at OGN, it just like it gave me a nice warm feeling to see StarCraft 2 up there. I was like, oh, these are
I think that's
This is
what
great.
Kinniget and maybe it was Hotbed, the other tweets that I saw that were kind of saying the same exact thing.
You know, I wish that just everyone would just do StarCraft 2, man. I do. It's sad to see StarCraft 1 go, but
I think it was Hotbit that says it's a dream come true to see a Team Liquid jersey up on OGN. Which is
That's
pretty cool.
yeah, I remember seeing that too. That I mean, what about you for you, Todd? Was that pretty cool to see a team that you're a part on OGN?
Yeah, well, it's
you've seen that before.
Yeah, well, I have. But I mean, yeah, it's cool, man. Like I've hung out with Hero. Like he's my teammate. There's that bond, and to just see him up on OGN, it's pretty cool. It is something that strikes you for sure. It's not a detail that just goes
Unnoticed.
passes by unnoticed.
Yeah.
And I hope it's the beginning of things to come. I would love it if OGN had competition alongside the GSL or something like that. Because again, only through competition does a lot of this stuff improve, in my opinion.
No, I think that everyone would probably agree with that. Sean, did you catch any of the OGN WCG matches?
I didn't. But I really
There's, like-
want to find the replay somewhere.
Like there's news about this huge controversy where they've signed Wolf away from GOM for $1 million, and he's to be the like Artosis lookalike on the other show. And he's like, well, Protoss players are doing pretty good.
So
He's got the same mannerisms as you, Dan. He's copying you. I'm calling it right now. He's a body snatcher. You need to watch yourself. Lock the doors.
Good.
Do not go out with him.
That's good, man. We need more Artosises out there.
see what you did, Jeff. See what you did.
Arthritic doctors.
God damn it,
business
Jeff.
Other than that.
Let's move on. Talk about IEM China, and let me pull up the list of players real quick.
JP, I have to go. It's 10 p.m.
Oh yeah, it's Sean's bedtime, everyone. Sean, we'll miss your annoyingly loud chair and background laughs.
And maybe 1 week my webcam will start working again. I don't know. why
Maybe
it's not
so.
working
We'll
properly.
troubleshoot that before next episode, possibly,
Woo!
and get it fixed. So, Sean,
Well, take care, everyone. Tune into the Red Bull LAN this weekend, redbullusa.com/LAN, and just Google Day 9 and hang out with me in some way digitally. Yeah.
peace. We'll see you later, man.
Peace, guys. Have
Yeah.
fun.
Bye.
All right. So, Group A, Hasuabs. Artosis, do you want to say the next player for me? You were quite shocked when you found out
Oh,
the Australian player.
Someone
His
named
name
Pig?
is
I actually Pig.
Yes.
I,
Who
Could
is
be implied
Pig?
that
I don't
the
know,
full
man.
name is Guinea Pig. It could be implied that he's
did
the
they have a
Australian.
qualifier? Is like Moonglade not there? Because I see 2 Australians in this, but not Moonglade. And I don't know. I haven't heard any rustles
You know?
from
Yeah.
Australian players. So
Man, it's an IEM event. Of course Moonglade's there. What the
no,
hell
it's
out of
not.
here. You don't have to announce him. He'll be there commentating or something.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, man, that's like his. He's always there.
G'day. Welcome to the Guangzhou IEM tournament. We have a fantastic one here today.
I'm so happy we got to hear that impression, Jeff.
Thank you.
So, we'll fix the webcam for you guys in just a little second. We've also got YHY, the Chinese player, and Puma. So, Puma wins Group A. Hasuab's probably second.
I don't know. We don't know how good YHY is, and yeah,
Chinese are wild cards, man. You gotta.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can
Easy
never
assumption
underestimate
is to
those
say-
guys.
Is to overlook them, and that's just because. And I'm not faulting you for it because I do the same thing. But they're highly competitive over there. They're just very. They will not. I mean, you don't see any Chinese events, man. They're having
that's
them.
true.
They compete and stuff,
Yeah.
and their players are great, but they don't. They're not too worried about. I mean, if they run a stream, they probably have like billions of people watching the stream, and they're laughing at us when we're celebrating at like 1 million. Like, we had 3 billion the other day because he demanded that we have the stream up.
About that group, by the way, Mana qualified at first place, gave up his spot, and Hasuabs fought X-Lord for the spot. X-Lord won, but canceled participation later on. So Hasuabs catching a break, going
Another
in.
Artosis.
He Artosis his way in. Group B, wow, this group's actually pretty good. Damaga, Demuslim, Zygwa, I guess that's how I pronounce that, a Zerg player from China, and then JYP, the Protoss, who's been making a lot of
Can't
news.
go.
That's a really good group.
Oh, and Demuslim won't be there?
Cannot go.
Well, fuck.
Visa issues, man. It's tough.
Oh, I remember seeing that on
Oh, is that
Reddit
because he's
somewhere.
in USA? Some China has that against some countries. You have to get your visa from your home country sometimes.
It's just
I know
a
it's like that
whole,
for France.
as an old person would say, like rigmarole or whatever. Is that what it is?
Rigmarole.
You probably know it better than I do.
Rigmarole, yeah.
Oh,
I know
it's
it.
probably
I
that.
use that word, man. It's a good word.
I'm not surprised. Just a bunch of hoops, and it's too bad because the Muslim is absolutely in monster mode. Absolutely monster mode. Like,
He's going to Orlando, right?
oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
And I'll do that thing where it's like I assume that a lot of top players don't listen to State of the Game, so I can say this stuff and it won't bite me in the ass, but of course it does, but I'll do it anyways.
Sweet.
What? Sean just left the call.
Do what? No, I was saying sweet that you're going to tell everyone.
Oh, I thought you said what? Or okay, yeah. The Muslim is probably our ace in our clan wars when Puma's not around. The Muslim does not lose to people right now.
Interesting.
Wow, sick.
Well, he got pretty far. How far did he get in Raleigh?
He got the nada.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
He took 14th, but he beat Trickster on stage. He defeated just a
That's
pretty
right.
long list of good players. Took a game off of Nada, and pre-Raleigh, I wouldn't have thought that that's too incredible. Nada looked very beatable against Huck the night before, basically, but Nada's TVT at that tournament was absolutely stunningly good. I had no idea he had that good of TVT. So for DeMuslim to hang in there with him, and he actually had him in the game he lost too, was pretty awesome.
Do you have any idea who's going to be replacing him? Because it's not here in the TL post. So.
I don't know. It's going to be hard. I have no idea, but I'll just offer my opinion because I'm good for it. The visa issue is really bad, and it's vice versa too. Because I guess there's no Chinese players at, is it BlizzCon or what's the tournament?
Yeah,
I
BlizzCon.
think that's right, yeah.
They're just flat out going to be no Chinese players because they could not handle their visa beforehand. Like,
Yeah.
kind of sucks.
Is BlizzCon 8 people or 16? I think it's 8 because 2 from
yeah,
Latin
I think
America,
it's 8.
US, or Europe, and then however they're doing the. Oh, no, the 2 Korean invites are MVP and ST, so. All right. C, is Idra going? He's in Group C. I think he is going to this.
He should be fine on that, I think.
Yeah, Idra, Elfie, to be announced when it comes to the Chinese player, and then Jinro.
Jinro.
Yeah.
You want to talk about no diss to Jinro, but of Korean invites, like the other ones like Dong Regu, then you have
It's
Puma,
Revival.
Revival. Like
Yeah.
you're talking about some of the top Koreans, and then one of them is Jinro. You can only like, well, I'll show you. Here's Greg's face. Okay, reading the internet, sees the Korean invites. That's it.
Well, that's all you're going to get
Shat
sometimes.
himself. He shat him. He was just fist pumping internally, of course, but tears were streaming down his mental brain. The whole thing was good. He's very happy. It's a huge matchup too. Jinro's denied him some GSL. Jinro beat him in the big show match before NASL.
Yeah.
They've got a little bit of a past, so Idra's going in for blood. The other guys are interesting too. Elfie, for whatever reason, is another
He has
one of
good
those
builds. He
one of
has
those European
some
players
strong builds.
your eyes kind of glance over him and just move away. And it's not because we don't know anything about him. It's because he's not one of the major big names. But I guess at the end of Warcraft 3, he was like a huge monster talent, and now in StarCraft 2, he's starting to turn some heads. So he's going to be tough. Idra's been studying up on him. He's not taking him lightly, that's for sure.
We'll see how that goes. Group D, it's going to be Strelok. Oh, man. This Australian... Iaguz?
It's his last name backwards. Look at
Oh,
that.
so it's Zigai backwards. Okay. Then the Terran Chinese player Wei, and then Revival is going to be going. Is Revival Code A?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Strelok getting a visa to China. I don't know if that's going to work out, man. Strelok gets cut on visas all the time. That
I
poor
have
guy
visas,
has
no
missed
problem.
out so many tournaments in his life.
And like 2 days later, he's like, he was problem.
Actually, it looks like a really good tournament, but a few of these players I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, probably the 2 Australian players you don't know too much about.
And then all the Chinese.
Yeah,
No,
then all 4 Chinese players. One of them
Shigua-
not even announced.
I've seen Shigua. He's actually, from what I've seen, he's really quite good. I don't know Wei though. I don't think, and I definitely don't know YHY.
Is that how it's pronounced, Artosis? Did I really butcher it that bad?
I'm pretty sure that XI is actually SHI in
Shigua?
Chinese.
It's not
pretty sure.
Zygwa. I'm not
No, I
sure.
remember because I used to call Zowzy, and then it was like, it's Shisu or something. I'm like, what? XI,
Well-
I'm pretty sure it's SHI in Chinese.
All right. Well, that tournament, when will be? Oh, yeah, October 1st through the 5th. So coming up here pretty soon.
Toast is correct. It means watermelon. Someone said.
Watermelon.
Those things I
cool
wish I
ID.
didn't know. God.
Last thing before we take the final break, then, of course, questions. I will say tweet questions at @itmejp on Twitter. We'll get a couple of those asked before we wrap the show up. Or excuse me, Jeff, you watched Liquid vs. Slayers.
Yes.
Tyler, you didn't. I
didn't
didn't have a chance to catch it, but Jeff, you want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, for people that don't know, it's Liquid faced Slayers. It's part of the IPL production that they're doing right now. They call it the Team Arena. They've done a lot of matches. EG was actually a part of the inaugural match, and hopefully we can get back in there because we lost our first one to Team Rain. But Slayers, huge profile team. It's obviously the first Korean team to face Liquid, which has been on a bit of a tear. And one of the amusing aspects of this, I thought, was going into it, everyone was like, Slayers will 5-0 Liquid. Oh, well, maybe Hero gets a win. Blah, 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 blah. Not the case. Team Liquid, obviously one of the top teams in the world. They held their own. I think Hapro got him. Well, I don't think. I'm looking at the score right here. Hapro got himself a win. Eventually fell to Lots. Jinro got himself a win against Lots. Those are two guys that I think a lot of people most commonly talk about their slumps, but obviously here it's capable. They're able to pull down big wins.
Jinro's coming out of his slump, actually. He's playing really better lately. He was looking like trash for a little bit, but he's like really looking strong right now.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, is this is not an MLG, but these are big matches, man. These are freaking important matches. You put money in front of a Korean team, they're going to play as hard as they can. I know that they issued a statement saying they're not going to use their giant guns, but they wanted that money. So you can kind of see the growth of the skill of the players that Slayers played. They played Sleep, and they're like, oh, he'll kill them all. Well, okay, Lots, okay. Then they went to Alicia, and I don't know if people can, but they should if they can watch the VOD of Chef versus Alicia. Because that's
where are those VODs at?
Well, I don't know. Like I said, if you
okay.
can't do it.
Okay.
Chef did it brought back memories of, gosh, who did he play? I want to say Hasuob's NASL Season 1 or something like that. No, it wasn't Hasuob, it was somebody, but he is capable of beating anyone's EVP. He's an absolute monster, Zerg versus Protoss. But he had a huge self-destruction in that game, and Alicia crawled back from behind, in a pretty ridiculous way, so it's kind of a fun game to watch. And then Rhett, LOL, Raffle stomped Alicia, and that's fun to watch for all the Zerg players out there. They can soak up their tears with that victory. And then Min closed it out as a Zerg player, beating Rhett and then Hero. And
wow,
that was one of the matches I was referencing earlier and inside the game, talking about how tough PvZ can be. Min made it look really hard.
And where were these games? What tournament was this for, Jeff?
IPL IGN Team Arena.
Okay, so probably
it's like a winner's stay thing, right? I've caught some games here and there.
$500 is like some kind of bounty system. It's pretty good money. They do it like once a week, I think, or every other week, something like that. It's just really cool.
I think you could find that over at ign.com/IPL to at least give some reference there to go check out some of those games.
Their search function is really messed up. Every player's entered in like 7 times. It's so hard to find VODs there right now.
That sucks.
Yeah, it does. Sad face.
Well, do your best. I'm sure if someone finds it, go ahead and throw it up in the chat. Be kind to the rest of the community. When we come back, we'll go into questions. So we'll probably take, what time is it? It's 12:10. We'll take maybe 20 minutes of questions or something like that. We'll see how far we get.
That sounds good.
So twitter.com/itmejp for those questions. And when we return, we'll be answering them. So don't go anywhere. When we come back, it's question time. We'll see you guys then.
Are we off air?
All right, guys, welcome back. Sorry to cut you off there, Jeff. We gotta go back live. Let's answer some questions. First off, we're getting a lot of tweets from multiple people asking about Nestea versus Gumiho. I didn't watch it. Tyler, you didn't watch it. Jeff, you didn't watch it, but Idra was talking about it all day. So, what were Idra's thoughts on it?
I didn't know it was Nestea that was a Zerg, but I guess what's going on, starting to form in the metagame, and of course when Gumiho puts it on a big stage like that, you're going to see a lot more. The idea is you have a mech-based army with a lot of Thors, but you're able to actually make more tanks than you normally would because the Mutalisk gets canceled out by the Hunter-Seeker missile from a pretty good number of Ravens. And with that composition, you're able to mix in other things. So, of course, like a few Banshees for Harass, or even just to build into the army composition, Hellions to close out Lings, that kind of stuff. But with that army composition, I guess you can throw just wave after wave after wave of Zerg units at it. It doesn't matter how many bases you're on. And the army will not budge an inch. At least, I mean, it's still fresh, so it's not like it's something that you need to write off as absolute truth. But for right now, Nestea got made to look like he just couldn't touch Gumiho, so that's pretty powerful stuff right there. Huh. Nestea is the best Zerg.
Yeah. Dan, you got any quick thoughts on that? I think that's the first time you've heard
I'm excited to see it. So this was from WCG, right?
Yes.
And where can I see these VODs? Because I only caught a few live.
Let me ask.
I can't see them on GOM. I don't know.
Greg, where can people watch that VOD?
Are they?
Yeah.
It's on GOM? Yeah.
It's on GOM.
Oh,
TV.
okay, I do see it. Never mind.
Okay,
Never mind. Yeah.
Where was it, Artosis, for people
It's just
looking for it?
it's not up at the front page. I thought it was going to be closer. I guess we cast a lot. Never mind. Anyways, it's there. It's on GOM TV.
All right, we'll go check that out if you haven't seen it. Powerforged asking, please ask why hasn't Sase been picked up by a pro team yet? I was asking Dan this earlier when he took out Thorzine in the MLG Global Invitational. Jeff, you guys going to be making an announcement soon about picking Sase?
I can definitively tell you that it will not be EG that, at least at this time, that rivals Sase, but he's a freaking good player. I could have sworn when... Who was it? It was like Complexity. It was like, we've got some pretty exciting news to announce. I thought they were talking about Sase. Turns out they were talking about every other free agent. In Naniwa and Stefano.
Yeah. Well, maybe Nanawa leaving Dignitas freed up a spot for Sase. I don't really know, but he needs to get on a pro team because he needs to be outside of Korea more. He's actually...
You know what? I like the fact that he's not traveling too much. He's like really taking training seriously. It seems like almost every time I go to Team Liquid, he's playing on his stream or something. So,
yeah,
and you can tell he's got some good play, man. He's getting really good.
Did you watch that Blink Stalker game, the game that was on Reddit I was telling you about last night?
Oh, no, I did not, actually. I forgot about that.
You need to go watch that. If no one else has watched that either, go over to Reddit.
You need to link me to it, JP.
No, man. You just go over to Reddit.
You need to link me to the minute in the game, man. I am a busy guy. I don't have
go to
time.
reddit.com/r/StarCraft, search for Sase, and it'll be like the top link or so. And it's actually...
That's pretty complicated, JP. I gotta get some like newt eyes and bat wings and like pour it in a cauldron or something to watch this VOD. No.
This isn't World of Warcraft, Dan. It's fucking Reddit. It's the internet.
Internet's hard, man.
Yeah. Well, for lazy fucks like you, it might be. Let's move on. Tyler, what headphones are you using right now? Oh, okay. I see what happened there. Don't answer that. Let's just move on. Can you ask? Oh no, I don't want to answer that. Jeff, people want to see your Immortal impression from last week.
I can't even remember it.
I don't need
Usually
it.
it's, I think the funny part is
says
just
I don't give a fuck about you. I think that's what you said or something.
Immortals are just badass. Just watch them. They are pretty badass, but then you see them like poop themselves when a bunch of Marines start tickling them, and
yeah,
that's not so badass anymore.
All right, here's a question from the Simpson man. Artosis, can you speak to how you feel about StarCraft 2 being so big now? You waited a while, hoping for StarCraft 2. How amazing is it?
It's amazing, man. I'm just so happy that it's so big. Look at us. We make money now. Like, I would have been doing this exact thing anyways.
You can't
like,
tell
on the
them
media
that,
event,
Dan.
we'd all be
You
sitting
can't
there.
tell them.
Well, it wouldn't be broadcast the world. It'd be like, us and like 4 other people on there, like just shooting the shit about everything going on while playing games all day long. I mean, my life would still be completely StarCraft 2, but the fact that I don't any longer have to live in my mother's attic, that's it's amazing. I'm so
That's
happy.
true, man.
And I'm happy that so many people are smartening up and realizing this is like the greatest thing in the world and they should spend a lot of time with it.
That's a good
Someone
point.
out there who does interviews and stuff, of course Dan's not going to like me saying this, but someone do an interview with Dan about his process, about coming over. I guess enough people don't know that story. They need to, so...
They don't.
Your job now, Dan, is to pick out all the scrubs that you're not going to do an interview with and do one with the really big, the Justin Agnews of the world.
We'll get him to do one. We'll get him to do one.
Just kidding, but it's an amazing story, and I'm kind of sad that not enough people know that. But good question from that person, because I'll tell you what, man, it is freaking surreal. A couple years ago, what we were doing and what we're doing now, like.
Yeah. Which actually,
that can be said for.
Just as a side note, I'm kind of sad in some ways. I feel like so many people are in esports for the money right now.
Yeah.
Right? It actually feels that way. A lot of players are like, okay, I'm going to get to this skill level and make money. Like everyone's just aiming for this paycheck or something. It's kind of disgusting me right now. I feel like there's very few, not none, but there's very few people that are actually training. A lot of us trained harder in StarCraft 1 than at StarCraft 2, and we knew we were going to lose money on it every single year, traveling to events and stuff. And nowadays it's like, well, I'm raking in that paycheck, and it's like they just fuck around and, you know, play Star Jeweled or something, and it's like, oh, you guys have this amazing opportunity as pro gamers now, and people aren't taking it. I can't even tell you what I would have given to be able to actually make money in StarCraft 1 at any reasonable rate.
There's a lot of that too, but I'll tell you, maybe it's just because of my personal experience, but it's overshadowed for me because, like, the idea of a pro gaming house outside of Korea for Brood War was a stupid, silly dream back then. And if it was a bunch of guys...
We did dream about it, too. We talked about it several times.
We did. But it was a bunch of guys talking about pooling their... You know, splitting the rent and putting a house together themselves. It was not a team saying, we're going to support you this way. So there's stuff like that. I'm looking at Team Liquid having an effing office in New York. Like,
it's great,
come on. Like, the growth is awesome. And you're absolutely right. There are a lot of people who... you know, they don't necessarily have to work as hard because the desperation's not there, the passion for a lot of people. But I'll tell you, from my personal experience, it's never been as serious as it is now, and I've never been as motivated as I am now. So it's pretty fun. It's really exciting.
Very true. From CRG 101, since there are a lot of Protoss players on, ask them how they feel about Sage's play in the GSL 2 nights ago. Thanks. Love the show. Thank you for watching. And what do you guys think about Sage's play?
It was awesome. Did you guys watch it?
Yeah, I saw.
Oh, yeah, I was talking with you about it. It was kick-ass, man. I mean, it's obviously not going to be a standard build. It can be stopped, but, I mean, 8 DTs going in and killing a hatchery, that is, like, insanely cool. I've been using a little bit on the ladder, and it works. You get out of there with 4 of them, then you let the other 4 suicide onto their tech structures while they clean you up. And it feels cool. It's really fun. It's good. And I think it's something that can be mixed in. He specifically rushed to that specifically for that exact purpose of what he did. And that was cool, but I mean, that's not going to be like a standard, like this is a build that Protosses are oftentimes doing, of course. That wouldn't make any sense. People would be ready for it. But like the thought process behind doing that later in the game is pretty neat, and I really like that. He's so good, Sage. I love
Jeff,
Sage.
I got a question for you.
Shoot.
Could you imagine, just 2 years ago, Mr. Dan Artosis Timkowski
I gotta go.
saying,
I gotta get out of here.
a DT drop is pretty cool.
Actually,
Oh,
you remember
shit.
that 8 DT drop? No, was it 8 or 12 by G5 against Hydra on
Three
that
shuttles.
huge map? I was a fan of that one, man.
Yeah.
I was a fan of that
Okay.
one.
Story
Maybe
time.
because I was watching Hydra be in so much pain as he lost an unlosable game to a man with only 12 DTs. That was
I can't
so
remember
funny.
if I've already told the story, so people have to suffer through it if I have. But WCG 2007, Idra and Artosis are, of course, in the same group because that's the way the Cosmos work. They like to make things funny as shit. Greg, at the time, had a bit of an identity crisis. He was like a Zerg player who played TVP. Can't remember if I got that correct. No.
He was a Terran that played PvT.
PvT. Excuse me, he played PvT. He was a Zerg player that played PvT that year. he gets Dan Artosis. They sit down to play, and obviously I'm like, well, fuck whatever I'm doing. I got to go watch this.
Oh,
So I
man.
sit down next to Dan. Dan's playing. Now, when Dan plays, it's a lot like a really, like, very piano, like, bop, 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 bop. Like, there's a lot of movement and shit. His pinky's shooting up to the heavens on his right hand. It's actually disgusting to watch. There's a picture on Reddit because I've talked about this. Dan's playing him, and I can't remember. Dan, you win, like, right? 2-1?
Well, what happened was
Just tell me.
first game. Well, the first game I had won, and then they disconnected us because they had to plug in.
Part of the story. What's the result?
Yeah, I won 2-1 at the end.
Yes. Okay, so in the first game, was that the DT drop? No.
No, he did that in the rematch. He did the DT.
Yes.
Because
Normal
in the first game, like, I raped him.
Normal game, Dan's playing pretty good, feels strong, disconnect, okay, regame, whatever. Next game, Idra instantly DT drops this kid. And I remember he was sitting there, and he's talking to me, like, because like, the match was done. I'm like, oh, there's a disconnect. He's like, yeah, I would regame it. So, well, what happened? He goes, he's like looking at me. He's talking to me. Greg is like 2 computers over here, obviously within earshot, 5 feet away. He's like, oh, the fucker DT dropped me. He's a fucking cheesy newbie. The stupid son of a bitch. He's saying it to me, but it's about him.
Man.
He's like, stupid fucking DT drop. Like, that takes any skill. Like, I fucking build my missile turret. I've got my spider mines around my base, and he fucking comes in his shuttle, drops it right on the missile turret. It's gone. It's fucking game over. Takes a lot of skill. And Greg's just like, happy as a clam. But Tyler brings a good point, Dan. 2 years later, he doubles the DT drop.
Well, it's a different place, man.
Yeah. He drops 4, and then could you imagine what Dan would think of building DTs in a Terran base in StarCraft 1?
It's happened.
Just like spread butterfly wings, and all of a sudden you can like warp in 12 DTs in that spot. I'm trying to imagine the vein that would burst out of his forehead right here. He'd be like,
Oh, God.
as if it's bad enough. Dan, you need to switch to Terran because it'll help your commentating. That's why you switch to Protoss. You're gonna switch to Terran. DT drop you.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem too thrilled about that. Marauders aren't. You still got to make them every now and then, Jeff. You won't switch over till they're completely worthless.
He might have a better opinion of him if he gets to make them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
No, I know what they'll feel like, man. I'll feel like easy buttoning the game. I don't want to do that.
He'll do that exact thing that he just said about Idra, but about himself when he starts making Marauders. Bonkers SC2. Tyler, this is actually a recurring question. Okay. Everyone wants to get some clarification, I guess is probably the best way that's been worded, on the Tyler versus TT1 NASL, shall we call it, quote-unquote, thing?
I don't know. Well, I don't know what the public statements have been, so that's like not my job to talk about it. Like, that's NASL's job and Team Liquid's job.
Okay.
Like, I'd be stepping out of my zone if I did that myself. So whatever, I don't know what's been said, but I'm not gonna tell a story here now.
Gotcha. I'm sure that's gonna add to the controversy.
Okay. I mean, I think it's a standard people should get used to, at least for players that are on like a high profile team. The player is not in a position to like be talking publicly about that stuff. They go to the team makes a statement if they want to, and the league can make a statement if they want to.
Yeah.
The player shouldn't.
I agree.
Personally, I prefer shooting off comments emotionally and then reflecting upon whether or not you should in the doing it, so.
Yeah, to each his own.
Maybe you
Jeff.
can fit to my standard someday, Tyler. Maybe you can consider it.
This might kind of throw you guys for a loop. VP Nursky is asking, an interesting question would be to ask the players how psyched they are for how nice the venue is in MRG Orlando. Do you guys know what the hotel is that we're staying at?
No.
It is the... Jeff, do you want to say it?
I don't know what it is.
It's the Gaylord.
Oh, it's another Gaylord.
It is another Gaylord. We were at the Gaylord last year at
Very
DC,
nice,
was
yeah.
it?
Is that like a really nice
Yeah,
hotel?
DC.
or-
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically
Gaylord, nice chain hotel.
the rooms are all inside of an atrium, and I think the Gaylord Orlando is like a beach resort. The last time we were in Orlando with MLG, it was actually the coldest it's ever been in Florida, and every bar at the place was outside, and it was like 20 degrees out, so that was actually probably one of the worst events, but should be a good event for the upcoming one in about 2 weeks.
One of the nicest hotels I've ever stayed at was the Gaylord in D.C.
Yeah, they're nice, man.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. However, for people traveling to this, there's the MLG message, which is Gaylord's awesome. Now there's the In Control, I got your back, brohan
What's that?
message. Eating is going to cost you your mother's fucking salary or whatever the shit you pay for your life with. Like,
I'm trying to think if there's food around. I'm pretty sure there's food pretty near the restaurant, Jeff, but you
do
don't
not
have to
fall
walk.
for the trap of eating inside that hotel.
Yeah, for sure.
They pay for that frickin' nice hotel off
Well-
the tomfoolery and the trickery of the people who are idiot enough to order breakfast there every morning, like
Yeah.
I did.
No, don't get breakfast. The sports bar, though, was cheap, wasn't it? It wasn't that bad.
Oh, it was reasonable.
It was reasonable.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But also down the strip from the hotel in D.C. was like all the food you really wanted.
Bring a sack lunch. And also, MLG hosted at a beach resort, LOL. I've never seen a bigger waste of luxury. My God, man. The last thing I want to do after a 14-hour day when my feet are killing me and my brain's like literally got smoke coming out of it
Let's go to the beach.
is go to the beach at like 3 a.m.
They have
There's
a water
fucking
park,
sharks
Jeff.
in that water, man. There's fucking sharks in that water.
You can go to the water park, man. You don't even have to get in the ocean.
Yeah, go to the water park.
From TJ Hazmat, any new fall TV shows you guys are following? Jeff, I know you watch a lot of TV.
Couple shows, Mad Men.
Yeah.
Almost said
course.
Mad People.
Well, I mean, to clarify, he says new. So are there any new
It's new
shows?
to me. Fucking, I mean,
Mad Men is so good, man.
late on this. Mad Men is really good. Loving that. Dexter is coming out.
I've seen. Well, yeah, that's good.
I'll say this though, I'm a huge Dexter fan. I own every season, loved it, watched it, ordered Showtime especially for it. But after last season, I'm a little bit deflated. They have
Yeah.
some ground to make up for.
Last season was
let's
not
bad.
the best, man.
It was bad.
Not
I
the
have to
best.
catch up on True Blood. That's my
Correct.
terrible show that I know.
Oh God, I hate.
It's terrible.
Jeff, I'm
I
wearing
have to-
flip flops because you watch True Blood. Okay, that's just how it's gonna be.
I got a show to shout out for. It's in its third season, but a show called The League on FX.
Is it
I
out
heard
right
that's
now?
really good.
It's gonna start back up in October, but it's a comedy show. It's about fantasy football, but like you don't have to have any interest in fantasy football for this show to be hilarious. Like it's more about relationships and drama and that kind of shit. But it's the funniest show. Like really, really, really good,
Very
funny
good.
show, and it's short seasons too, with like 30-minute episodes. So
Nice.
you could knock it out real quick and watch the third season, which is going to start, I think, in less than a month.
I've been catching up with Breaking Bad on Netflix. I don't know why I didn't watch that show.
It's pretty kick-ass,
Amazing.
man.
I just got into the third season. It's actually fucking incredible. I've heard that the new season's really good too, so I'm excited for that. Fringe, I haven't watched yet, but it came back, I think, last week sometime.
I don't really like that show.
Really? How far did
No.
you get?
I've watched a okay amount. Like, if a show doesn't catch me pretty quick, I don't want to see it.
Yeah, the first season's kind of a slow burn, and
Which
now
one?
the show's just completely different. Fringe, you watched that, right?
Oh, I haven't watched it yet.
Okay.
Oh, there's another show. Well, it's like a miniseries, but the Sherlock miniseries that
PBS?
they did over in the UK. I don't know like what channel it was on. Probably BBC something or
probably
other.
BBC.
But Sherlock miniseries, it was really good. And there's like 3 episodes out that they were like an hour and a half long each or something. So
I think, didn't that get an Emmy or some shit?
it probably won some awards. It was really good, yeah. And they're gonna have another like season in 2013 or something like that. But yeah, it's good.
Let's see, what time is it? We got 2 more questions.
Always sunny.
You're not
by the way.
gonna ask me? It's terrible. I've been watching.
What? I don't have to ask you. You can just talk.
Yeah, man. I keep on trying to get in there, but I'm being polite. I don't know what to say, JP. I've been watching Suits. It's pretty good. Other than that, just the old seasons like How I Met Your Mother and Big Bang Theory and Breaking
Yeah,
Bad and
those are pretty
all that
good.
stuff. Walking Dead when that comes back and Mad Men and
So I actually have a question for you guys. I had a friend tell me, well, I don't consider him a friend anymore, but he told me that The Walking Dead is actually the worst show on TV because of how ridiculous it is. and how it
It's-
ended last season. What are
It
your
ended
thoughts
pretty
on?
stupid last season.
I enjoyed it until the ending. Yeah, I was like,
He said that he will never watch it again, and I was like, come on, man. The intro was, or the first couple of shows were pretty good.
I'll watch it forever just because it's a zombie movie until it becomes as bad as Resident Evil 4, and then I'll turn it off.
What? Dude, Resident Evil 4 is
Did you
like...
watch that movie?
Oh, the movie. I thought you were talking about the game.
No,
I was like,
the games are good.
I was about
but
to get
the
upset
movie-
for a second.
Resident
there.
Evil 4 was like actually, I'm still angry about. I'm gonna go download it just to steal from them because I paid for the ticket.
how did you mess up Wesker? Like one of the
Oh, he
coolest
was in it?
villains.
Oh,
Oh
man.
my god!
I don't want to watch it. I don't even want to hear about
It's
it.
like a Armani commercial mixed into a movie with
It was
just
terrible.
terrible.
It's just so terrible.
I don't want to.
Welcome to my white room with the white chair. Now you must do battle with my mutated dogs. Now you've defeated them. Well then, now you must do battle with me. And,
So
oh my
thrilling.
god! And
Spe-
wait, one thing, real quick.
yeah, it's
Every time I
questions on
see
the
a
same
really
line.
bad movie, what makes me madder, and Artosis, I know you can identify with this, and if you haven't, I'm about to make you even madder, which is gonna, you like that. You and I are angry people.
Mm.
Imagine all the people who go home that are involved with that movie, the directors, the people who work on the stage, the makeup people, and they lay down, and their girlfriend, their husband, whatever, they're like, hey, how is it? And they're like, we got something good going on here. Like, I don't
know.
I don't
They
want to
look at it
like.
and they're like, we're gonna make a lot of money off this.
I don't want people to
You
get
know-
too excited. You can't tell anyone, but
Is there someone that works that movie and they were like passionate, like we are about StarCraft, and they're like, we are doing something good. People are
This-
gonna like this. We
I
are
don't want to
making
say
a
Grammy
difference."
or Emmy. I don't want to go out there. But we're gonna change the world.
Jeff, the shitty thing is that movie probably made a lot of money.
I helped it too.
Yeah, so did Artosis, man. You
I
guys
gave
both
the money,
went.
man.
You guys are part of the problem. From Hell's
also
Ends
got two.
631, same kind of in the same line. What are y'all's favorite genre of movie and/or your favorite movie?
Jesus, that's the question that can't be answered.
Yeah.
Someone's favorite movie. If you actually have a favorite movie, you don't like movies enough to matter which is your favorite movie.
The childhood favorite movie, which is still pretty good, is Hook, with
Hook is pretty
Robin
good.
Williams in it.
Williams, yes.
Oh, my favorite childhood movie was The Professional, about the assassin.
Oh,
guy.
that's with John Reno.
That explains so much.
That movie
I
is
know.
good as
I
shit.
saw it when I was really young, man. And that was my favorite movie for so long. Nowadays, I don't really have a favorite movie.
Tyler, do you got
Uh,
or Jeff?
Big Lebowski obviously comes to mind.
That's good.
Absolutely, every single time I watch that movie, which by the way would be going on to like 45 times now, I still see like a new scene that I can laugh my ass off to. The depth of its humor reminds me a lot of Arrested Development, which is another show that I've watched literally 7 or 8 times, all the episodes, and I still find new jokes that I love. On the other end of the spectrum, it's hard to pick a favorite. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. The original Alien, which came out in '79, has a lot.
That's good.
It's either 79 or 69. It's one number that just blew my mind away because that alien looks fucking real, man. It's freaking awesome.
It had to be 79. There's no way that was.
I'm telling you, I
the
think it was
60s.
79. I think it was 79, but it just blew my mind the year that when I looked up when that came out.
Jeff, I got to ask this because I know the EG House watched it. Did
Yes.
you like Precious? Was that a good movie?
Okay.
Oh my God, that movie, man.
Precious.
What in the? That's like the most depressing. movie
Precious
ever.
is one of the most hilariously disturbing and awkward movies a room
It
full
really
of typically jovial StarCraft gamers can watch. Like
Oh God.
the whole time, Bryce, who has seen it, and he was like the only
All right.
one who had, would like flip around and be like, "Wait till you see this. This is so fucked up."
There's
and-
scenes
and-
in that movie that are fucking incredible. They're just revolting. By the way, Jeff, new idea for EG House. Scoots will probably like this. You guys need to do EG movie night. Just put a camera on you guys watching some movie, and just stream that
Yeah.
for 2 hours, man. It'd be good
We're a
content.
pretty good crowd. Because what I do when a movie's really, really bad is I just start Space Odyssey, 2000.
No, exactly. That's why it would be awesome, man. You guys should definitely do that. I'm sure Scoots.
Oh, you know what the
will-
worst movie? You watched it with me, Jeff, when you were in Korea. Skyline. Oh my
Dude,
god.
that's
you
on.
wanna
I was
talk
gonna watch that
about
on Netflix the other night. It's bad.
Oh, don't you dare.
It
give
is!
them any money, man.
I don't want to watch it.
How?
It's like the worst movie ever.
I had this a nice little movie night with Dan and his lady friend, and we were. I don't know. I don't know how hard you guys tried. I tried as hard as I could to make that movie enjoyable for myself.
Yeah, it was just so
It's
terrible.
cool, big fucking robots and.
Oh, they're here to steal our brains, you say?
Steal
All
brains.
right, I'll follow that for a little bit.
Right.
And now what? Oh, everyone died, but your brain took over this? And what? What? Oh my god, it was so bad.
They try to escape in like race cars and.
Don't
or
say
not
that
race
word.
cars,
Dan hates
sports
that word.
Cars, and it's fucking like, don't look into the light, and then of course there's oh man, that's a bad movie.
That was terrible.
Possibly the last question. There might be another one in here that I can find. C Parks 1002. How's our not so little princess doing in the TSL house, Artosis?
Oh, he's doing well, and actually, immediately after State of the Game, I am setting live New Path Episode 2. I went down and I talked to him, and I interviewed Songho, the team coach, and I interviewed Mr. Lee, and just basically asked him how he was doing. So you guys can see that on youtube.com/ArtosisTV.
But I guess there's like an immediate correction that was made too the night you announced that he's joining TSL.
No, that's
TSL made it very clear that that's not the case.
No, it is the case. There's like a funny way that they look at it. He's on TSL. Just trust me on this. Like everyone,
Funny way to look at
like
it.
Milkus translates like the 10th best StarCraft 2 reporter in Korea, and everyone's like, well, I guess this is the case. His last name is Lee. It's like, no, dude, that's like just some reporter guy. No, he's on the team. He's part of the team, living with them. They pay for everything for him. He's part of the team. Don't even worry about it. You'll see. Anyways, all that's pretty much clarified in this video, so check it out. In fact, I'll tweet it. A little link to it. There you go. I tweeted it. So
All right.
click on it.
I can't actually tell who this is, so it's time to play shit on whoever's standing or sitting behind Jeff. SC2 Maestro says, who is the guy that's been digging for gold in his nose behind Jeff for the past 20 minutes? Jeff?
Probably just looks like that. He ate chicken, so I think he's picking it out of his teeth. It's Axelav, man.
It's Axel.
You know what? If he was doing that, more power to him, man. That guy's a genius. Everyone should be doing that. Maybe there's brain power in your boogers.
Maybe so.
You
Jeff?
should push him back up, not pick him out, man.
Well, what if he just eats them afterwards? Then he's okay.
He's got like a little, kind of like a gold member from the Austin Power series. He's got a little tin case that he puts his boogers in, and he collects them. And when it gets big enough, he makes a sandwich. It's a lot like Spam. Yeah.
I see.
He uses it as a meat patty. It actually has that texture too.
This is getting gross, Jeff. Why don't you just tell me about your sponsors, man?
The sponsors. Big shout out to them: Intel, Monster, SteelSeries, Kingston HyperX, Inwin, Slappa,
What?
Bigfoot Networks, Slappa Bags. We're gonna have some bags coming out. Split Reason Clothing.
Every week you like add on 3 sponsors. I'm like, what?
Believe me, I know. Gunner Optics. Really happy to have all of those guys on board. And again, one thing I always like to say, because it does get, I mean, a lot of people think they're sponsors, and I just want to make it clear, like, please, guys, they're important to us, and show some love if you got it. Like, if you're a Razor guy instead of a SteelSeries, that's fine, but the people that pay these teams are the ones we need to show love to, so big shout and thanks to them. My fans, of course, it's been really awesome. Had a great streaming night the other night, playing on EU now.
Nice.
Got an account on there, so I'll be training with some of the better players of the planet. I'm very excited about that. And then I will be at IPL, so please do come say hi. I will also be at MLG Orlando. Please do come say hi there as well.
Oh man, October's gonna be crazy.
It's going to be crazy, and that's just me. Greg's actually going to be gone for the next month doing everything.
Yeah.
So we're kind of laughing about it now, but I feel like he'll be on an IV drip in a month, so we won't be laughing about it then. EG's really excited. I don't know if it's announced, and maybe I'm in trouble for this, but I don't know. But Puma's going to be coming back to the house to boot camp before MLG Orlando,
Awesome.
which is really exciting. He's actually a super, super awesome guy, so we're going to teach him a whole bunch of more corrupting things and maybe stream some 2vs2, all that stuff. What's that?
As you should, man.
He needs to learn English, yeah. I taught him easy peasy. And I'll just reiterate that. I think that's spreading in Korea. So even if I don't have any other impact on the StarCraft 2 world, I think you guys all need to know I brought easy peasy to Korea. And if that's all I do, that's fine.
Thanks,
I'm
Jeff.
cool with that. Yeah.
Artosis is going to walk out and everyone says that. He's just be like, fucking Jeff. Start raging.
Add me on
Tyler?
Twitter. Add me on
You're not done.
EG and
Still-
Control.
Still going.
EG Control TV on streaming. Please do follow me there.
Jeff is still going, man.
I always
going.
forget shit, man. I'm sorry.
He's
Usually
got
I
a lot,
remember it
man.
during Tyler's, and I don't want to do
Yeah.
that this time. So give me a second. And this is my Swarm Lord.
How is the Tyranid army that you're building going, by the way?
Not so good. It's we're right in the middle of getting ready for a whole bunch of tournaments, so I haven't even put one together in a long time. But once tournament season's over, which is basically November,
Yeah.
and I get back from Korea, then we will probably start putting together that stuff.
Cool. Tyler, got any shout-outs?
Yeah, well, thanks to my team, good old Team Liquid, our sponsors, Little App Factory, Razer, and my sponsor, Stride Gum. Keep it short and sweet, man.
Short and sweet.
Wow. Look at that.
Some have to keep it short and sweet.
I always have to remember something too. Red Bull LAN. I'm going to be there. It's going to be awesome.
yes.
So thank you so much to Red Bull for letting StarCraft 2 in on this amazing thing you do. And everyone check that out. Watch that stream. It's going to be cool.
So there is going to be a stream. I mean, is it just going to be of the practice games, or do you have no idea?
It's like not actually a LAN, right? What they're
It's-
saying is it's training.
It's training, yeah. There's going to be some content. I don't know exactly what it's going to be. But
Are they going to have you
there's-
build a car and then like drive it into the ocean and shit?
Obviously.
I don't know.
Red Bull's crazy, man.
If I tell them that I feel like that'll make me a
flute
better
top.
player, then that's exactly what I'll do. Yeah.
Turn into that. I'm trying to think of the link. I think it's Red Bull. Just Google
It was
Red
Red
Bull.
Bull USA
RedBullUSA.com/LAN. That's what it was.
/LAN, yeah.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, and of course, it's Tyler's things. I got to thank Monster. I think I forgot them. I'm sorry. And that's like the worst one for me to forget because they're awesome, but also he's talking about Red Bull. I apologize. The whole thing's
Yeah.
bad.
Jeff, you're just an asshole, man. Artosis, you want to save Jeff here?
I don't want to save him, but I'll say my stuff.
Yeah, come on.
Come on,
Hey,
man.
Follow me on Twitter, please. I'm Artosis. Check out that YouTube video, and I appreciate subscriptions to my YouTube channel. Don't be one of those guys that just goes to YouTube and watches stuff but doesn't subscribe. It actually really helps me if you subscribe to youtube.com/Artosis TV. So check out that New Path video, episode number 2. You guys broke the handsomenerd.com last week when I mentioned the NanoWash shirts, but we finally had it moved to a new server.
Go
You can't
break it,
this
guys.
time.
TheHandsomeNerd.com. Go.
I-
Everyone go. Hit
We
F5
have
a bunch of times.
In Alaska Distillery.
Yeah. Huge shout out to
But
Aid
yeah,
Distill.
go to thehandsomenerd.com.
Break It.
Check that out if you would. We have NanoWash t-shirts. You can help him out by buying those if you like him. That's it though. Thanks for watching, and watch JSL tonight. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Really hard groups tonight. Oh my god.
Dan,
How about Darren's?
Dan, do me a favor.
Not as many actually. Not as many as there have been.
Do me a favor, Dan. Try to go to thehandsomenerd.com while I finish here. Let me know if it's still stable. I just
Oh,
want to
it
know the
has to be
power of
stable,
State of the
man.
We
Game.
have that power.
Moved.
I want to know the power, man.
And
Better.
thanks to everyone who listens to State of the Game, by the way.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
I don't. JP doesn't like me as much or something, but he used to talk to me about all the analytics and how awesome it was that it was
It's
growing. Still doesn't tell me these things.
I know.
But
I'm
one
a
thing's
bad
for
person.
sure, the audience for State of the Game is growing, and you guys show love. And the live show we had at Raleigh, despite the hurricane and the
Oh
late
man,
hour
that
and
was
stuff,
awesome.
fucking awesome, really cool.
I think
And, more of that, man.
I'm pretty
Appreciate
sure
it.
we have that scheduled in Orlando.
More than 30 minutes?
I was told that we might get an hour.
Oh shit!
That's not concrete. I got to figure that out. I'll try to figure out if I can have that information for you next week. Shirts are supposed to be on sale in Orlando. I can't promise anything, but I was told that we're going to try to get the order in. If not, they'll definitely be in Providence, and we'll probably have more than just one in
And
Providence.
that directly supports us, by the way, guys. So
Yeah.
if you guys go to events and walk around town and identify with people wearing a State of the Game shirt, or if you show up at MLG and there's like obviously 1,000 State of the Game shirts, you're gonna help us grow, man. Bill Gates can descend from his like ethereal tower and be like, "I've noticed that you have this amazing thing that I could help with."
Yeah.
And then soon, Day 9 can't leave because he's actually strapped down to his chair and he can't say
Exactly.
like anymore because he's got like a built-in implant that stops him from saying it because we can afford that. It'd be awesome. I didn't mean to hate on Sean right there. I should have shaken that up a little bit, but
It's all right. It's all right. People know
he's
that.
not here anyways, so he'll never know.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get at, too. Oh, yeah, about the shirts. They're only going to be on sale at Orlando. There's going to be limited supply of those. Basically, it's a test run. Show MLG that you guys can sell it out, and we'll have more stuff in the future for you guys in terms of shirts and things like that. So do me a favor, buy some shirts if you're in Orlando, and for everyone else out there that can't make it to the event, it might show up on the MLG store online that you can purchase through there. So we'll try to do that. You guys do your part and go buy some shirts. I feel like Sundance for some reason. This is really weird. Follow me on Twitter. Twitter.com/hitmejp. Follow Jeff. Twitter.com/EG in control. Tyler at Tyler Wasilewski. Just Google it. Try to spell it the best you can. It'll come up correctly. And then Twitter.com/State of the Game, Day 9 TV, and Artosis. I've been doing Formspring questions each day. So formspring.com/hitmejp, and I'll show up on my YouTube. Trying to do 10 or so minutes each day of that. But that's going to be it for State of the Game. And we're trying new things here with the format in terms of what it looks like, so bear with us. Show will probably change in the next couple of weeks. Not sure what it's going to look like, but just stay tuned. We'll have more great stuff for you. Thanks for tuning in. We're out. I'm going to go play some Battlefield 3 because it's an incredible game. See you guys later. Peace.